is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot on my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Phil Porto, a.k.a. Phil All Caps. And I am with my guys, Mr. Al from Harlem and Mr. Apollo Reed, guard up Knicks man himself. And we are here with a new episode of the Knicks Nightcap. And every week I'm pretty excited to chat, okay? But today is a little bit different than any other episode we've ever had because we've had episodes of elimination early in the playoffs. We've had, hey, we barely even made it to the second round episodes back in the day of the show. But last night, the Knicks didn't just win game 4, okay? This was seriously after the largest halftime lead by a road team in NBA Finals history. The Knicks pulled out the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history. So that's two crazy things. We're down by more than any home team had ever been down in an NBA Finals game before. And then we do what no NBA Finals team has ever done and pulled out that historic comeback, erasing a 29-point deficit and beating the Spurs 107-106 on an OG Anunoby game-winning putback with 1.2 seconds left on the clock. New York now leads the series 3-1. We are one game away from our first title in our life and our first title as the Knicks since 1973. The Knicks outscored the Spurs 55-25 during that game-changing stretch, which is one of the most dominant momentum swings ever seen in NBA Finals history. So it's crazy because there's so much we can talk about, but let's just talk about how you are feeling after the end of that game. I'll go with you, Apollo. I want to hear, because you and I have shared the most heart-wrenching moments as Knicks fans together before we knew Al. And so I know that you know that pain. I know Al does as well. But since we've shared so much of the pain together, I just want to hear how you felt at the end of that game, from the fourth quarter rally to the victory.
I'm going to be honest, man. When I say that I was pissed off, at a certain part of that game, I was livid. I was mad. We go down 29. They're making every shot, and I'm just like, yeah, this one's over. And I'm watching it with my wife and my oldest son at the time. And I said to my wife, I'm like, listen, if there's one team that can come back from 29, it's this team. I said, but I don't know about the energy today. I'm not sure about this one. So, I wasn't happy about that, but my son goes to sleep and my younger son comes down later on in the fourth and he watched the rest with us. And I'm just watching them chop down this lead. And I couldn't even get excited because I didn't want to get myself wrapped up in the game and then get disappointed if they didn't win. Not that I didn't have faith, but I just wasn't going to get excited. You know what I mean? I couldn't handle that. I was already taking deep breaths and doing meditation techniques and all that. I was just trying to stay calm. And as they brought it to within 20 and then within 10, and then it's a 1-point game, my wife looks at me and she's like, all right, I can hear her thinking. She's like, he's never quiet when he's watching the Knicks play. And I was silent. I was on mute. But when OG tipped in that shot, I lost it. I lost my mind. And I admit, I don't like mixing sports and religion because I don't think it's fair. When Wembanyama had the nuns at the game and they were praying for him, I'm like, that's not fair. You can't. Now, what if somebody prayed for the other team? Who wins? Who God's gonna choose?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there come on. But I kid you not, I was over there with my hands together. I'm like, God, please, whatever you can do, make these dudes play their best brand of basketball. But I was, man, ecstatic, man. I've never seen anything like it. It is the most memorable moment in my Knicks fandom. My son got to experience that at 8 years old, and that made my day. I was happy about that. But yeah, man, just a roller coaster of emotions. And I'm just glad we got that dub. So we one more game away. One more game.
Hey man, I'm gonna be honest. Not a single family dinner goes by at our household where I don't say, "And Lord, let the Knicks get the dub." Not saying that Jesus is looking down and saying, "Okay, Phil, just for you."
Right.
Like I take it literally when the Bible says that God knows the desires of your heart. Just throw them up. That don't mean He's always going to answer them. Like, throw them up. Like I gotta throw it up. Like alley-oop. Hey, what you gonna do? Like it is what it is.
Apollo, take excuse me. Take me into that room with you and your son. Like, was he excited? Was he jumping up and down? Like, what were you guys doing when the tipping went in? Like, what was that? What was it like? Like, what were you guys doing? Were y'all jumping up and down, going crazy? Like, people crying? What was happening?
So, little backstory, right? My both my kids they're Knicks fans, of course, but one is more of a fan than the other. My older one is coming around a little bit more now. He actually like unprovoked comes and sits down and watches the game with us. So but my younger son, he's been going back and forth with his friends at school, and his kid's in second grade talking about, yeah, the Knicks are better than your team and all this stuff. So I mean, every time he sees somebody with a Knicks hat, he's like let's go Knicks and all that. And it's dope. To me it's so amazing because we're not in New York. You know what I mean? We don't live in New York. We live in North Carolina. So for him to be a Knicks fan that heavy at that young age, I'm like, did I ruin his life? Did I ruin his life? You know what I mean? But he got to see this last night. Yep. And when it happened, when OG tips the ball in, I admit, bro, my eyes teared. My eyes watered a little bit. I ain't cry. My eyes watered. I can't promise you when we get that fourth one. But anyway, I mean, my eyes watered because I'm just like, this didn't really just happen. Like, there's no way this just happened.
Yeah,
there's no way that it just happened. And my son is sitting there he's like, just frozen. Both of us, we're both just sitting there frozen. And then it hit us, and we both just started jumping and going crazy. So that was a great experience to have with him, man. For sure.
I love it. Crazy. So before I throw it to Al, I'm gonna go. I want to give a shout out real quick to everyone in the chat, and then we'll go to Al. Shout out to Jean Shorts and Tim's. Appreciate you being in the building. Yes, OG all day. Prezi the boss is those dudes. Fill all caps. Apollo Reed and Al from Harlem. I swear when we win this chip, I'm getting an OG face tattoo. The Queen Ebony's in the building. What's good, Knicks fans? What a win. Yes. OTLS, the brand. I'm going to shout them out in just a few minutes after we give our initial takes. Shout out to my big brother. What up, KOT fam and little brother? He said, I've been streaking since last night. Cops were called. It got weird, but I explained that. Let's go, Knicks. You stupid. Shout out to Danny Landis in the building. Still pumped from last night. I said to everyone when they cut it to 10 that it was back and we would come back and win. That's a facts. Shout out right here to Judo Constant. Let's go, Knicks. Appreciate you being in the building. What were you about to say, Al?
I kind of wanted you to go next because one of my favorite like parts of this run has been, watching these games with Phil and his family and his boys and watching the joy on their faces when the Knicks win.
Sunny.
So I wanted to go into your room and how you guys were celebrating, what your boys were doing, because I'm super interested in that part.
Yeah, so we were watching the game at first at the watch party with Al. Unfortunately, there was someone there that was just not a classy human being. Was very rude and disrespectful to my wife while I was out filming. and to my boys. So they were like, we're done. We're bouncing. I confronted the guy. He had his whole little like goon squad there. And they were just mad disrespectful. And, you know, I was like, all right, I'm about to like completely step out of my following Jesus phase, and I'm about to go back to my old ways if I stay here. So I looked at Al. I said, bro, this dude is pushing it. I got to bounce. You know, like my family comes first. This is not going to end well. So I decided to just peace out. And honestly, I'm glad I did. Because we took that drive home during halftime. We're down. And I ended up having one of the greatest, well, no, straight up the greatest Knicks experience of my lifetime with my wife and kids in that third and fourth quarter. It's just us. We're home, the four of us in our living room. Kind of had to shake off the bad vibes from the watch party, to be honest. Like, it took the whole ride home, me talking to my wife, talking to the kids, trying to just process it all. Like, dang, you know, like me and Al are putting in, you know, to this thing, trying to build something great with these people. And this is the outcome. And so we get home, we're finally shaking it off. We're just like, all right, let's just watch the game. Let's just have fun. And we're down, you know, 29 points. And I'm like, bro, what is happening? Like, this is insane. And so I'm just like feeling a little bit deflated. I'm making rice and cookies late at night, like things that I have not been eating on carnivore diet. And I'm just like, whatever, I'm going to eat my feelings of the whole night, you know, like this is ridiculous. And it's my boys who are like, Dad, come on. Like, we got this. Don't lose hope, Dad. Don't lose hope.
Get out of here.
Oh like, my God. Yo, Jonah and Miles are straight up like, Dad, don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. And I'm like,
man.
All right. And they're like, you know, we're gonna get it back. You know, one thing you always say, Dad, is if we're down 15, you know, we're still gonna win. We're gonna get to 15. And I'm like, all right. So I'm trying to be optimistic with my boys. And then all of a sudden, the tides start changing. OG 3-pointer, JB drive, Jose Alvarado spin, drive, 3. This happens, that happens, stop here, stop there, defense that we didn't see in the first. And our family is just jumping around like crazy, freaking out every single play, dapping each other up, hugging each other. My wife's going nuts. Like, my wife likes watching the Knicks, but she didn't grow up watching basketball. She didn't grow up in New York. She didn't grow up a Knicks fan, you know? So like this season has been like her transition into trying to be supportive of the Knicks and me. Like many seasons before, she'll like watch it with me, but like this was her really becoming part of it, you know, and like really enjoying it for herself. And so she's like freaking out. She's like getting up. We're all throwing up the Jalen every 3 that he makes. Like, it was just crazy. And then Josh Hart misses that layup.
Oh, and man.
My gosh.
We're all looking at each other. We're all like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And the Jalen shot goes up. We're all like this. He misses, our hearts sink. And then OG, with the grace of an angel, comes flying into the screen, hits the shot, and I swear to you, it was as loud in our living room as it was the last few watch parties we were at. Like, all of us were just screaming, kissing, hugging, spinning each other around, and it was my greatest moment of Knick fandom ever.
That's
so
awesome.
Shout out to my wife. Shout out to the kids for seriously making that something that I'll never forget. Shout out to that one disrespectful dude. I hope you come across this feed sometime, and that you can pat yourself on the back for giving me that memory with my family. But I loved it. What about you, Al?
That is so awesome, bro. Yo, man, I just knew that was gonna be a good story. I wish I was there. Man, I'm kind of mad I missed that.
Me too. It's been fun with your family for sure.
Yeah. So I stayed at the watch party. Like half of Tampa cleared out of there. I mean, half of the watch party cleared out of there. So it was only like half a bar left, which kind of disappointed in Tampa because Ross sent a video of him at a bar in New York, and obviously that thing was still at capacity the whole way through. So I was like, dang, Tampa kind of cut out early. But man, I was kind of stoic through this whole thing. I had a boy, my boy that was there at the Game 2 watch party, my boy Isaiah. He was in New York. He went to Game 3 and Game 4. So he was there. He was texting me like, man, what the hell? Like, this is absurd. And I messaged him back at 9:45 p.m. and I said, they're going to come back. And the whole time I'm watching, for some reason, I just had a feeling that they just weren't dead yet. I'm like, they're still trying. I see them putting forth the effort. And just like either Jonah or Miles told you, I was thinking the same exact thing, the same exact number. I'm like, get it under 15, get it under 15, and we could be in striking distance. And they did that. And the bar starts going crazy. The Josh Hart missed layup reminded me of Patrick Ewing finger roll.
Yep, everybody said that.
And I was like, my head just sunk. I was like, oh my God, not this again. I just started thinking so many bad thoughts. I'm like, why, basketball gods? Like, why do you do this to us? And then OG saved the day, man. When Jalen shot the shot, I was like, dang, that's a bad shot. That's like really far away. And he missed it. I was like, oh, and then OG out of nowhere tips it in, and it's just complete pandemonium. But the funniest part is like, I look over to Alina, to my daughter, and she's passed out, sleep hard like a rock. Like the bar's going nuts. Like the thing is loud as can be. And Alina is just asleep through it all, dude.
That's fire. That's fire. Yeah. She fits right in. She fits right in.
She's been able to sleep through like every watch party. I'm like, yo, for real.
How she
like, straight up.
Fits right in. What up, Joe? What up, Joe?
What up, Joe? What up? All right. So real quick, before we go into next topics, I want to give a shout out real quick because every once in a while, I come across a brand that like I really dig their merch. But even more so, like I dig, what they're about, and getting to know the people a little bit really makes it, worth it. Really makes it worth supporting them. So there's a guy named David, and he's got a brand called OTLS, which is a motivational brand. When like they encourage like just believing in yourself, and like that having strength, from within, and take accountability of your life by looking in the mirror, seeing which ways you can improve, and just realizing that like not everything is just like based off of the situation. Like you're not always a victim of the situation, but when you are, there's still things you can learn from. There's still things that you can improve, and kind of just working at yourself. And so they came out with a dope New York Knicks shirt that popped up on my timeline out of nowhere, which is this right here. So this.
Ooh,
that's fine.
So yeah, so he had, we had started talking online. He sent it to me and was like, I was like, yo, if I get it in time, I'm gonna wear it on one of the episodes. So he messaged me today. He's like, perfect time to be getting some mail. It says it's out for delivery. And I was like, yes. So shout out to him. If you guys can, please check him out. Support what he's doing. I'm putting the link right now in the description with a Knicks Nightcap code for 10% off any of your guys' purchases. This is a real New York Knicks fan. There's a lot of people that are just creating, content now because it's Knicks. You scroll on their feed, you don't see anything about New York, you don't see anything about the Knicks. All of a sudden, they're a Knicks artist and all this stuff. But no, he's like, a Caribbean New Yorker who's now living in Georgia, born in Brooklyn. Like just a real New Yorker. So support real New Yorkers putting out real dope merch and everything like that. So shout out to David. I appreciate you, bro. Seriously, this shirt is a blessing, and I'm going to wear this thing out. So it's going to fade quick because I'm going to wear it all the time. But I appreciate you for real. He's actually here right now in the chat. So shout out to you, David.
Yo, shout out to you. Thanks for supporting us, man. That's a dope shirt.
All right, shout out. We got people just popping in right now. Shout out to Gideon. Appreciate you being here. If you all can, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're not on YouTube, head on over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're on Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, if you could hit the retweet button, reshare, let's continue to just rack up those numbers. We're on that quest to 10K here at the Nick of Time Show channel, and we're growing fast, and we would love for you guys to be part of that journey. So please hit that like button.
Hey, Phil, I got a little special shirt too, bro.
All right, show me.
Oh, okay. Everybody got their special merch.
My boy got back today and he brought me all the merch.
I love it. I love it.
I finally got my hat in. It took me a little while to get it, but
mine's on the way. But unfortunately, the patch one on the side was sold out. So it's got the finals on the front, but it didn't have the patch. I ordered the blue one with the patch, but I just got an email today saying that it's delayed. So they're still processing, and I'm like, "Come on, yo! Like seriously." I see all the
this series gonna be over before you get it, man.
For real, I see all the videos that MSG selling hundreds of them throughout the week. So I'm like, "Come on, snag one of those and send them over." What the heck? But whatever. I do need to get an OG and an Alvarado playoff jersey, finals jersey. That's what I need to get. Those are the two that I need to get. But let's start talking real quick. All right. I do have a little small surprise at around 8:35 that I want to, present real quick. But before we do, let's go into the first topic, guys. All right. And so with 1:15 left in the game, okay, they said that it was the first lead of the night that the Knicks had. That was crazy to hear. 1:15 in the game, and it left in the game, and it was the first lead that we had. And so I went back and I rewatched the game right before this episode. And one thing that really stuck out to me that was crazy was Lisa Salters. She was talking about how Brunson's mentality going into this game and how Brunson had been saying that, you all have seen me play better. You've seen me play worse. And that's part of it. But I've been able to get to my spots and that it's just a matter of time till things start falling. And then when he was talking about last night's game, he said that their mindset needed to be better and that coming up 2-0, that it was kind of human nature. And he thinks that maybe that kept them from actually fully realizing the importance of game 3, like the human nature kicked in of comfortability. And then he said, the real question is, are we as the Knicks desperate enough? And we need to play desperate enough to win. And we saw that last night. We saw the Knicks desperate enough to actually win. How many times have we said, we need the Knicks to play all 4 quarters? Why are you not playing all 4 quarters? And even though things weren't looking good, especially in that first quarter, that was rough, we still saw our guys playing. We went up against a lot of opposition. So just in the first quarter, I want to talk about this. There was no calls for us. Okay. There was the Alvarado goal that they ignored. When he made that shot, they acted like he was, going to pass it to Mitch on a lob. But one thing that you would hear, from Jefferson, which when you start hearing Jefferson back up the Knicks and a bad call against the Knicks, it was a bad call. He straight up said Alvarado had his eyes on the rim the whole time. He didn't even look and see Mitch coming from the side. His eyes were on the rim the whole time. That should have been, the call. So Wemby easily, then when they called the 2 fouls on Cat, Jefferson was saying Wemby easily could have gotten his arm out from underneath Cat. But you see him continue to raise it so it looks like Cat is holding him, and that shouldn't have been called a foul. Another thing against us. And then Wemby, that putback where it was still on the rim and they allowed him to touch it and put it back in. It was just call after call after call.
The Luke Cornett goaltend. Yep.
It was just call after call. On top of the fact that we had 4 turnovers, they had none in that first quarter. Also, they shot 65% and we shot 29% in that first quarter. And from 3, they made 6 in that first quarter and we made 2. So it was kind of like everything was against us in that first quarter. And it was a very big mountain to climb. But I want to talk about how that mountain got climbed throughout the game. And one thing I want to talk about first, and I'm going to give a shout out to my guy, Ra. This whole segment is for you. I love you, Ra. This segment is yours. All right. I title this, Ra, this is for you. All love. I want to talk about Mike Brown and his adjustment masterclass, the defensive pressure increase that we saw that he put, and then Knicks starting trapping and speeding up the Spurs guards, and all the things that did, because he ended up playing 12 players in an NBA Finals game yesterday. That's crazy. Like, to go from one season of 7 to 12 in a finals game is crazy. So Mike Brown did so many things. So where can we give flowers to Mike Brown, Al? I'll go with you first.
Well, I mean, the biggest flowers that he has to get is for playing, Jose Alvarado, man. Because starting in game 2, you saw the Spurs increase their ball pressure. Like, they were just hounding not just Brunson, it was anyone that was bringing the ball up, because there was a lot of discourse around, get Brunson off ball, and that may sound good, but when he was getting off ball, whoever he was passing the ball to was getting an extreme amount of pressure, and they were kind of folding under that pressure. Like, Mikal couldn't handle the pressure. Josh is a little bit better, but also not the best ball handler in that scenario. And it was during game 2, I believe in the first quarter, that I texted group chat, and it was kind of a crazy idea because these two guys are really small. I said, yo, I think we might have to see Brunson and Alvarado play together, because they're the only ones that could really handle the rock. And in game 4, that, to me, that's what really won us the game. Like, obviously OG had his moment, but if Alvarado wasn't put into play, like, I think he took Mikal's minutes. If he wasn't in there, I don't think we win this game, guys. I really don't think we win this game. So that was a key adjustment to me.
So I agree with you completely. I think that was the adjustment of the game. And we're going to have a whole Alvarado section right after this. So we're going to be able to bounce off all the things we saw from Alvarado, because to me, like you, I think that if we don't spend a good portion of this episode talking about Alvarado, it's a huge disservice to what we saw last night. So Apollo, what is something else that you could give flowers to from what you saw from Mike Brown?
I mean, is this, when you're down 25 plus points, like, you got to throw everything at the wall. You know what I mean? You got to try things. And that's one thing that I continue to give him credit for, for doing. He did it in the game we were down by 22 to Cleveland. He's not going to just stick with what he's been doing because it worked in the past. You know what I mean? He's going to try whatever he has there. You saw Jeremy Sochan out there for a little while. You know what I mean? You saw Huck Porty out there. Of course, most of those minutes were to, just put a body on Wemby, but I think the Sochan minutes, I think those had a little bit more of a strategic thing to it, because I know how Jeremy feels about that team still. You know what I mean? I think that he was going to take pride in guarding Wemby more than, any other guy he would have just thrown in there at that point. Of course, we wouldn't have been in that situation if Cat wasn't in foul trouble. If they weren't going to, keep putting Mitch on the line with the hacker Mitch, So the fact that they were down by so much and he just continued to stay even keeled and just the trust in the players that are there, man. It's something that you don't really see that often, especially from where we came from last year. And seeing, the lineups that were played. I think, like you said, he played 12 guys and he stuck with Deuce. He was trying to get the best out of Deuce. Deuce, I'm sure we'll talk about Deuce a little bit later. But I just wish that Deuce could have hit one of those shots. I think it would have been, the crowd would have went crazy if Deuce would have just hit one of those Deuce shots.
Yeah,
that would have been great. But shout out to Mike Brown for trusting in these guys and just staying with what works. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, I'm going to try these tactics, different guys, different schemes, because at the end of the day, you're down by 29. What do you have to lose?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
You know, what one thing you brought up was the Sochan Huck minutes. And before we go into an Alvarado segment, I'm going to talk about this real quick and then let Al talk real quick about a few other things that popped into his mind. But it is so important for those Huck and Sochan minutes. We haven't really seen those guys in the other series because we didn't really need them. You know, like, let's be honest. We didn't need them in most of these series. But this is where you have a flexible coach who realizes the situation. He could have continued and said, okay, well, Cat or Mitch have to be out there, because that would have been something we would have saw, you know, like just a bounce back of forth last playoffs of those two guys, regardless of the foul situation, regardless of the Hack-a-Mitch situation. But when you're down that far, you can't allow a Hack-a-Mitch situation. Like you are down 20 plus points. The last thing you want is the clock to stop and 2 missed free throws. Maybe 1 if you're lucky, you know, like you just can't have the deficit continue. And we saw that even though those weren't fouls that needed or should have been called on Cat, that's how the whistle was going. The whistle was what it's been all series in opposition to the New York Knicks. So Mike Brown made a genius decision and said, okay, I have 2 guys that can put a body on Wemby, can put a body on Kornet, and they could be aggressive defensively. And if they get in foul trouble, it does not affect us. These are just, you know, stowaway minutes till we can bring Cat or Mitch back. Because Mitch was exhausted. You saw him huffing and puffing. You know, he was huffing and puffing, bent over, like he could not continue. And so that was a genius thing for Mike Brown, because now you have 2 guys that can come into a situation where those guys can't be out on the floor, and you're willing to explore this situation and have those guys be able to put pressure, but they've played enough throughout the season. Sochan knows enough about the Spurs gameplay that now those guys are not a liability. Like you've played them long enough throughout the season that they know the offense. They know how to play with the guys that are out there, as opposed to previous seasons. Well, you can't really bring in a guy that hasn't really spent much time on the court, you know, like in the finals. That would be suicide. Yeah. But Huck has had his minutes. Sochan has had his minutes, but he also knows how to get in Wemby's head. You saw some of those transactions between him and Sochan, and he was frustrated. Like to that point where the one video that's gone viral where it looks like Wemby's trying to step on OG's like ACL, that started in a frustration of him going back and forth with Sochan and Sochan not letting him get loose. So all of that stemmed from good calls by Mike Brown to bring him out there. So what is your thoughts, Al? And then we're going to go into this little segue thing that I have backstage.
I wanted to piggyback a little bit like off of the Mitchell Robinson thing, how you were saying they put in Huck Porty and Sochan so that they don't hack a Mitch. But the other side of that was I think in the fourth quarter, I think Mike Brown was trying to bait them into hacking Mitch to start the fourth quarter and get him into the bonus, because Mitch started the fourth quarter and there was some guys at the watch party that were like, yo, why is Mitch in the game right now? Why is he in the game right now? And I'm like, yo, Cat's got to get a little breather, and he can't play the whole quarter. And maybe he's trying to bait him into getting him into the bonus. So I thought that was kind of slick. And then I just thought the minutes distribution was spot on. Like he tried McBride, he didn't have it. He pulled him. He only played 7 minutes. He tried Clarkson. He got us 2 points. He didn't really have it either. He pulled him, right? And then he leaned in on the guys that did have it going. Like Brunson had it going. He played 44 minutes. OG had it going. He played 41 minutes. Like he leaned in where he needed to lean in. And then he was trying to see if anyone else, you know, had it going. And he kind of like worked the rotation like that. Man, I just noticed Shamet played 21 minutes and had 0 points. So he's the only one. He gave him a really long leash. And he didn't make any. He's got a, man, hopefully – that's 2 bad games in a row, man. Hopefully he comes out pretty good in the next game. Yeah. But those are the points I wanted to make.
So I'll say this real quick about the Mitch in the fourth. That just shows wisdom on Mike Brown's part, because we had started by the end of the third quarter to cut into that lead, which now it's okay if they hack a Mitch, because you want them in foul trouble in the fourth. But when as far back and as far down as we were in the first and second quarter, you couldn't allow a hack-a-mitch situation. Now you're slowing down the game mad early, not getting any buckets. We're not getting any momentum. And that's when you saw the Sochan Hukporti minutes. You didn't see the Sochan Hukporti minutes when, the game started getting close again. Like, it's wisdom to use the players at the right time. And that's what he did. Like, he used wisdom. And then when it comes to Landry Shamet, the only thing I'll say about Shamet is I understand he had 0 points, but anytime you see Shamet out there, they still guard him from the three. No one's fully leaving Shamet open. So it's still something that helps us having him out on the floor, having that 3-point power because they know what he can do. And then you still have him being able to help facilitate whoever's on the court. It's not only one facilitator. Now you have two whenever he's out on the court, as well as the fact that he still had 3 assists. He had 2 assists. Or one assist and 2 rebounds. So, yes, he's not scoring, but he's still making some impact, even though you don't see it on the stats. So I want to take a break real quick before we go into the next portion of the segment, because one idea that I threw out in the Nick of Time chat, and everyone's like, yo, bro, you have to do it, is as a photographer and videographer professionally, and also a graphic designer, I get a lot of art that pops up on my feed. Especially like within the New York Knicks fan base. It's like art galore. So I have a whole folder of just like my favorite art pieces from within the New York Knicks community, whether it's music, graphic design, painting, dancing, rap, whatever. It doesn't matter. I have a huge catalog because I just love how creative our fan base is. Some of the greatest art. And so a few weeks ago, I was on my feed and an artist popped up. And I saw something crazy and I was like, no way is that actually happening. And so like, I reached out to her. I was like, I want to highlight you. Like, I just want to highlight you on the show. Like, she's like, I don't really do the camera thing. I said, 10 minutes, just give me like 10 minutes. I just want to plug you because I think you're a very unique artist. And I think it's really, really dope. So this is a little series that I'm doing called The Heart of the New York Knicks, where we're going to highlight different artists within the community. And so I want to show the video that got me stoked on this artist, because I think it's really, really worth highlighting. And I think you guys would enjoy the art as well. So where's it at? Boom. All right. So I'm going to try to make this big. Is that big? Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
All right. So her name is Annie, and she seems really, really sweet. So I'm going to find out right now. But here we go. Oh, hold on.
Fire.
That's pretty cool.
There's another one. I'll take the songs off so we don't get in trouble.
The captain.
But how unique is this? She's using like the Mike and Ike box and the Captain Crunch box, and she's just making these amazing, amazing paint pieces of our squad. Like, I would love to have that in my room, like on my, wall, the actual box. Like, that's something that is memorabilia for the ages for me. So even though I didn't get the Mike and Ike box, I did get a print of it that's going to be in my studio. Like, this thing is
that's
just fire.
awesome.
So I absolutely love it. So I'm putting her Instagram there for you guys that are in the chat to check her out, support her. But I want to hear about her fandom. And she's got her man with her because, he's also a diehard. So we're just going to ask them how they felt about last night and then just get a little bit of like how the Knicks have inspired her and her art. So without further ado, let's give it up to my new friend and your new friend, Annie. And I hate saying this because I didn't ask her boyfriend's name. So Annie and her boyfriend.
What's up? Can you hear us?
Yeah. How you doing?
This is Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, what's up, Charlie?
How you doing?
I love the accent. Where is it from?
So I grew up in England and I didn't watch basketball growing up at all. My family is not a basketball family. So I had to have Charlie here because he's the only reason I know anything about it. When we met 5 years ago, he really explained the game to me. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Nice to meet you, Charlie. Appreciate you being here. So obviously, as a Knicks fan, how were you feeling last night in that fourth quarter? Like, you see OG Anunoby, and we come back from what felt like a spanking, and then the most historical comeback of NBA history. How are you guys feeling last night, and how has it carried over till today?
It just felt like everything was going against them. It just didn't feel like a possibility. And then when it came within like 4 points, I started to think, oh shit, like, is this actually going to turn into something? Yeah, it was unbelievable. I can't even believe it.
I love it. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a Knicks fan for over 30 years now, and like I just have like what I would describe as like an ingrained pessimism and just like an expectation that eventually things are going to break bad. So it's almost like going so bad in the first half that I almost had like a sense of calm because it feels like normalcy. And then when they were on their way back, it never really felt real. But in my opinion, watching basketball my whole life. If you're down a ton, usually when you get to around down 15 or down 12, that's usually when the pressure shifts onto the other team, how not to screw it up. And so that's when it kind of started to feel real, especially after seeing this run. I'm fortunate enough to have gone to the first game of that Cavaliers series. So I got to see like proof of concept, what I mean? And I mean, I was like just losing my mind. Hard to describe.
I love it. What's crazy is that like we're all from that, level of understanding of disappointment. She may not be, so for her, like seeing us like, and then like 3 seconds later is like, what is wrong with you? But that's normal for us. But it's crazy to start to think that what we saw last night is starting to become the new normal for us. Like, it's still going to take some time for us to adjust. But like I was telling these guys, my boys have really come into fandom over the past 2 years, and so they are seeing the New York Knicks kind of be the comeback kids, and so in that third quarter, it was my 5-year-old and my 8-year-old going, Dad, it's all right. You always said if we can get back through 15, we're going to be good. We're going to get to 15, and they're like pulling me off the edge of the cliff. So it's crazy to think that is that's their normal now. And that we have to kind of shift what we're seeing as what we know as normal to start embracing what is becoming the new normal, thanks to this new regime under Jalen Brunson, Mike Brown, Leon Rose, Karl-Anthony Towns, OG, and so forth. It's cool to be able to see that. It's kind of like when you have a record and the lines are what that music is, but as soon as there's anything that changes in that line, the complete song is different. It's altered. So like we have to get used to the fact that the record lines are changing, and then it's going to be a completely different song for us. So Annie, tell me, how does something like this come? Like as an artist, how have the Knicks kind of influenced you in any way, shape, or form? And how has the Knicks community responded to your art?
Yeah, I think it was the playoffs last year. I was just starting to get into oil painting for the first time. And we were watching the playoffs, obviously. And I love Josh Hart's obsession with Mike and Ike's. So I had the idea to do him on a box. And I was like, oh, it might be a little too small. Like, I don't know, it might be fiddly. But I figured it out. And then Charlie gave me the idea to do Jalen on Captain Crunch. And yeah, right away, the response was like amazing. And it's the best fan base ever. So everyone was so supportive, just like fire emojis under everything I posted. And so then I did Cat on the Kit Kat box. And now I've run out of ideas. I need OG on some kind of food packaging, and I can't think of anything. So if anyone has an idea, let me know.
Yeah, chat. If you have any idea, we'll be thinking as well. Because you definitely need an OG one now. That's for sure.
Say on like a Game Theft Auto, what's it called?
Oh yeah, Grand Theft Auto cover. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's gonna be a good one. Yep.
That'll
Yep.
be fire.
Yep.
That'll be fire.
Yeah.
New York will eat that up right now.
Okay.
So, so how can people like support you? Like, I know you're selling prints and everything like that. Do you also do like, you know, work for hire if they were like, oh, we want an original?
Yeah, totally. So my Instagram is Annie LLEWE. And if you DM me on there, I can do prints or talk to you about selling originals. I have this Mitch original still available. A few of them have sold already. But I do commissions as well. So I actually just did, this is a print, but this is the Mitch Dunk.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That was a commission that I did for someone. So yeah, just DM me and we can figure out the details. And I would love to do OG from the last game. So if anyone wants that, please let me know.
Yes, that would be amazing. Well, we appreciate you. We will continue to support you guys. And in the summer, I'm looking to do a more elaborate series where I actually sit down with artists and kind of just get to know their journey as, you know, artists, but also as Knicks fans, get more of the details of how this kind gentleman next to you turned you into, you know, like afternoon tea to late night at the Knicks bar, you know, like how that transition happened, you know, we would love to, you know, talk about that. But I appreciate you guys. I know at first you were like, I don't really do this kind of thing, but so I appreciate you taking the time and allowing us to be the ones that you did it with. I truly love your work and I will be getting more. Awesome. And I will message you as soon as we come up with an OG idea.
Yes. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you guys so much.
Nice meeting you.
Great night.
Thank you.
All right, bye, guys.
Go Knicks.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
That was awesome.
Nice.
Really, really talented girl. Thankful that she was here. I want to give a shout out right here from Vic Sweet, said North 30 gang. That's where we've been doing the watch parties. Salute to you. Thank you so much for coming and watching the show. But now we're going to transition. Okay. This is the segment that I'm most excited about, if I'm completely honest. And that is Mike Brown and his backing of Jose Alvarado. And I'm going to share this video real quick because it's actually one of my favorite videos that I've seen out of the like crazy amount of videos that are on Twitter right now that we can go through. But right here. All right. There we go.
The last person I'm going to talk about is Jose Alvarado. We clap for Jose. I know a lot of you guys can't because you're in the media and you got to be neutral. But I'm going to clap for Jose. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. He says that every time he curses.
Jose was unbelievable tonight. He changed the game. His speed, his ability to touch the paint. You know, again, you give San Antonio a lot of credit. They're trying to throw a lot of different things at us defensively, kind of matchup, man, slash zone. And if you don't close out to Jose as hard as he works on his shot, he's going to make you pay. If you close out to him, he's quick enough to go by you. And he made some great basketball plays offensively tonight. And then he was great defensively. The last person I'm going to talk.
So I love the accolades and the praise that Jose Alvarado is getting right now in the place of his birth, the place that he is so proud to play for. Like, this guy is a true New Yorker, loves the city. So for me, Jose Alvarado came in and he completely changed the vibe of the game. Like, if you watch any of the KOT or Nightcap shows over the past few weeks, like my player to watch, my spark plug, my Energizer Bunny, the guy that I said is the jumper cables, that's Jose Alvarado. Yeah. And he did that yesterday. Like, he came in, completely changed the vibe of the game, like he's done so many times in the playoffs, in the series. And so while the Knicks were still trying to climb back, and like every time he checked in, it really just felt like the energy completely shifted a little more in our favor. So it was like it would stall out a little bit. Jose would come back in and it would get us a little closer to where we need to be. And that was a huge factor for the way that things went. So he was flying around on defense. He was picking up guys full court. And that, to me, is one of the biggest things. You see how San Antonio started to crumble under his full court pressure defense and exhausting and harassing those guards that went so freely in the first quarter. And so he was, hassling the ball handlers. He was making everything uncomfortable for the Spurs. And he even gave Wemby a leg trip. Like, come on, like last one. And he meant it. Like he put his money where his mouth was, so I was happy about that. And the great thing is with Jose Alvarado, it's not always the flashy stuff, that are going to get the highlight reel, but at the end of the day, it might not be the cool stat sheet stuff, but he had 8 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and most of that came in the fourth quarter. Like where he had, great pressure defense, did the spin past Wemby, a spin past, I think Castle, it was, with Wemby behind him, made that shot. The next play he went down, he hit that 3-pointer, and it just seemed like everything he did kind of impacted the rest of the guys. It impacted the energy of the rest of the guys and the rest of the game. So for me, I know OG is the star, for what he did at the end of it. But I don't think we get to that point where OG can do that if it wasn't for the contributions of Jose Alvarado and his 15.5 minutes. So, Apollo, what are your thoughts on the effect that Jose Alvarado made on last night's game and he's making on this series?
I mean, first, shout out to Jose Alvarado for just being a great guy. Like, outside of basketball, he's just a dope dude, man. Like he fights for his team no matter what. Like he's one of those guys that every team needs. When we signed him, it reminded me a lot of the Josh Hart signing. And how the energy just shifted around the team because, he was so focused, like we mentioned last time, just being a servant, like just coming here and just, what can I do to help? How can I fit in? What do you guys need? Where do you like the ball? You know what I mean? Like you saw him asking a lot of those questions. So for him to come from purgatory, you know what I mean? The bottom of the league, to get traded to your hometown team, and that year, you guys are in the finals and you're up 3-1 and you're having a big impact on that run and the game that we just saw, man. It's just so special to have a guy like that, He tweeted out was it the night before or day before the game? I forgot exactly verbatim what he said, but basically like, he better not do that again, talking about Wemby doing that to Jalen. And he came out with that energy. He was bumping him every single chance he got. He didn't care, where he was going to go up with it. He was going to challenge him. Like you said, he had the little picked up his leg and flop kind of thing. Cause for a 5'11" guy to trip you on your foot and slam you on your back and you 7'1", it's kind of weird, but that's the NBA now. You know what I mean? You got to sell a lot of these calls, but I love it. I love it, man. You know what I mean? It's just his energy is infectious. I just really want him to get one in New York. I actually saw you. I sent you the link of after the game when Shamit goes up to him. He said, "You changed the effing game."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? He said, "You changed the effing game," and you just see it in Jose's eyes, man. He's just yelling because he's like, it's almost unreal. Like this is a monumental, historic game, and he's part of New York Knicks history. You know what I mean? And not everyone gets the opportunity to play for their hometown team and to be effective on their hometown team. But shout out to Jose Alvarado, man. He's one of the most important pieces to this team, and I want to see more of that lineup with him and Jalen. Honestly,
yeah. I love that because for me, bringing him back is a no-brainer. Like he is a Knick. He belongs here. We need that kind of, determination and everything like that. And this is where I want to give Mike Brown props because we tried the Kolek and Brunson thing many times to have another facilitator alongside Brunson in those kind of minutes. But the fact that neither of them were elite defenders made it not work out. Yet he tries it again with Alvarado being that player. and being that defensive and aggressive and, infectious kind of basketball player that he is, and it works. So I'm gonna play this clip right now from Al and then throw it to him.
Wait, don't put it up yet. Don't put that up yet.
I'm not gonna play it at all. Nope, not doing it.
Yeah, let me just like get it like build it up.
Warm it up.
So first I want to shout out Leon Rose for getting Jose Alvarado and having that foresight, understanding that this team was lacking another ball handler. And look at when it reared its ugly head in the NBA finals. Like these guys saw that weakness on the Knicks and they like really went to bat on it, and they were killing us because of that. And this guy that we picked up at the trade deadline, kind of like a throw in, like little small trade, not like a big sexy trade, is coming, like is the reason, pretty much the reason we won game 4. So for Leon Rose to just foresee that far ahead that little problem could cause us the championship is insane foresight. So props to him. Now, I'm gonna talk about something different that most people aren't talking about with Jose Alvarado. When this series started, I said if we can effectively drag Wemby out of the paint, we win the series, right? So for the majority of this game, Wemby was camped out in the paint. It was really hard for us to get going. When Alvarado got in the game, Alvarado was in the game in the fourth quarter with Josh Hart. Wemby was not cheating off of Josh Hart. He was cheating off of Alvarado. And what Alvarado did really, really good was setting that guard-to-guard screen. So now he's setting a screen for Brunson, which drags Wemby out of the paint. And now everything else opens up because Wemby's no longer in the paint. So I got this clip for you, and I want you guys to watch this. This was amazing. Like, this is the unheralded. This is what most fans don't even realize happened. So pay attention to this.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Yep. This is where he cuts.
One of the reasons why is because they don't respect him. In this, Alvarado goes into the action. Wemby's going to switch this, and Stephon Castle is going to try and put 2 on the ball right here. But Alvarado does a great job by relocating over here and eventually finds OG Anunoby for a wide open 3-pointer because he utilizes the space that he's
what a bounce pass
his movement. OG hits one of many threes he had in the fourth quarter, and Alvarado was an absolute game changer, and it started from Mike Brown trusting him in the fourth quarter instead of Mikal Bridges.
It's crazy, man.
You know what's crazy is what is such a strong suit, and like I said, it might not be on the stat sheet. So many people that are not actual like fans of the game of basketball will look at Alvarado and be like, whatever, good minutes. That's why he only played 15. It was like, no, he played 15 because they were some of the most impactful 15 minutes that any player had last night. Not only is he setting picks for Brunson, but he also is the guy that's going to fight through every single pick on the other end so that they're not getting those easy 3-pointers that they were getting in the first quarter. Like, you look at the 3-point shot percentage from some of these guys in the minutes that Alvarado played in, I believe, the second and fourth quarter, and all of a sudden, those 3-point numbers drastically dropped. Why? Because they weren't getting the easy shots, because Jose is always making sure that he fights through it. And if not, the guy that, now has to take that person is not worried that Jose can't take the guy that he's already with, because Jose had shown that he can guard Champagny. He could guard Vassell, Castle. He was guarding Wemby. There's no worry that, oh no, now we have to try to figure out how to get back to that guy because Jose can't hold his own. That's not a worry. So the fact that he is a master on the pick and rolls on the offense and the defense is just so beautiful to watch. Like, it's just genius basketball when he's out there. And so I think Mike Brown, taking Mikal's minutes, taking Josh's minutes, whoever's minutes he had to take, the fact that he was willing to do that showed his confidence in what Alvarado could do. And Alvarado's the player that never makes you like regret that choice.
Hey, I love this comment from Too Tall 886.
Yeah.
Wemby DPOOOY getting hunted on switches was priceless.
Yep.
Yes, it was, my friend. Yes, it was.
Crazy. That's a crazy thought. So real quick, I want to give a shout out real quick. We got a super chat right now from Judo Constant, $20 gracious super chat. Thank you so much for backing us and believing what we're doing here over at the KOT network. That seriously helps us.
Did he not say anything?
Everything like that.
Nah, he just wanted to give us some money.
Just
Yo,
gave us
Judo, appreciate it, man. If you wanted to say something, type it in the chat. We'll say
whatever
it for
you want to
bro.
say, Judo. We appreciate you, like for real. Shout out to everyone that's been coming in. My brother from another mother, the Latin assassin himself, Mr. Lee Escobedo, killing it on the Substacks. So if you're intellectually inclined and not everything has to be a scroll for you, log on to Substack, subscribe to what he's doing. Some of the best articles you're going to find online about the New York Knicks. Shout out right here. Too Tall. Appreciate you so much. Craig's in the building. He said Wemby camping in the paint is over. More guard to guard pick and rolls.
Facts.
So appreciate you so much. So let's end the Alvarado segment with this. Because I love this video. It made me extremely happy to watch. I was cracking up when I watched it. So here we go. All right. Here we go.
With the sound. Yeah, there you go.
Played with a lot of guards. What's special about Jose?
This part is funny.
I mean, it's tough for me to be a Dominican talking about a Puerto Rican like but he's
I knew that
he's man, you know, when you talk about somebody who not only lives up to the moment but plays with his emotion and utilizes that to his advantage, that's a rare quality. You know, a lot of times you play with a lot of people and they play with emotion, but it gets the better of them. And for Jose, that emotion is what drives him and makes him take it to another level. He's a special player. You know, his tenacity, his defensive ability, and his offensive ability that I got to see firsthand when D'Lo asked, "Can he shoot?" And I now know he really can shoot. It's special. He has so much to his basketball game that people don't give credit to, and I'm glad at this stage, on a night like this, he was able to show the world what he could do when he's given a chance. And Jose Alvarado clearly told everyone in the world tonight he's a big-time player.
That's a Dominican person saying that. I know, right? Save that right there.
I love that. I love that video. You know, first, it just shows, you know, the camaraderie of what these guys are, you know, what they're building here. You know, I have not seen that kind of actual chemistry between players in a Knicks organization in a long time. Like, how many times would we see like RJ and Julius side by side and be like, do they, I know they say they're friends, but do they like each other? You know, like it was just, it always felt weird, you know? So I love to see what we're building there. But one thing Al and I were talking about is the important statement of him being an emotional player and it not getting the best of him in a bad way, but in a positive way. Like, there were so many times that under the New York lights, we would talk about Julius Randle played so emotional, but it was a bad thing because it cost us something, you know, it cost the team something. But with Jose, he gets those emotions and it's like a moth to a flame. He gravitates to it and like excels. Like, he loves a moth to a flame is a bad example because you get burnt up in it. But I mean, he gravitates to the emotions, but he doesn't get caught up in it. And I love that because isn't that what New York is about? Like, we are passionate about New York, which is why you saw the celebrities, you know, losing their mind because unlike a lot of arenas that the celebrities go because they got a free ticket, these are people that have been invested as Knicks fans and season pass holders for years upon years since we were like kids. You know, they've been on the sidelines. They travel with the team. You know, you saw people, you know, weeping. I saw my people at Knicks Twitter, you know, on the camera at the watch party at Diamante's, like holding each other and crying. You know, like that's New York basketball. You know, like we are all emotionally invested in this. And to see the players are as well, when we had so many years where players were coming merely for a check, not because they really cared about the city, it's actually a really exciting time. What were you gonna say, Al?
I can't let the podcast go all the way through without giving props to my guy Fat Joe, man. Because in game 2, Fat Joe did this silly little dance when Wemby was shooting a free throw, and Wemby missed, and the Knicks won by 1, and people were dubbing it the Fat Joe game. And then last night he did it again. And Wemby didn't just miss 1. He missed 2 free throws back to back, man. So shout out to Fat Joe. Fat Joe has single-handedly won us 2 NBA Finals games, bro.
Single-handedly.
Let's go. Lean back for a second. Lean back. I love it. All right. So real quick, we're not going to talk about the pour yet, but I just want to let everybody know this is the brand right here that'll be on the episode a little later on tonight. This is Sagamore Spirits. And this is their small batch. And this is going to be what we kind of just pour as we talk about this next series. So cheers to y'all. Let's grab a little pour of this small batch right here. This is straight rye whiskey at 93 proof. So pretty light for, the non connoisseurs in the chat. Just a cool light pour. So we'll have that as we talk about the next, segment before we even dive into any whiskey. But the next segment I want to talk about, guys, and we don't have to go into massive detail on it, but with the rise of what we're seeing in Alvarado, and even though like it wasn't as significant last night, but other games have been impactful with the Jordan Clarkson minutes in the finals. Have we seen the last of Deuce? He has not really been a major factor for most of the playoffs. He's had some decent shooting games here and there, spread out, sprinkled throughout. But a majority of the time, feel like I'm screaming Deuce, and yet it's not happening. So I'm going Deuce. It's like, oh crap. Am I wasting my vocal cords at this point? And so I'm then yelling, take him out, put in Clarkson, put in Alvarado, and hear me out, because I don't want people to think that like I don't appreciate Deuce. I like Deuce. I think Deuce is a good basketball player, and I like that he was, farm grown. Like he's our guy. We drafted him, we brought him. And he's developed in a lot of areas. But I also see that some of the limitations that he had early in his career are still limitations that are holding us back right now. And those limitations can't be ignored for his position, which are like his inability to actually create for himself. Like you saw last night, he would dribble once or twice and then have to come back because it was like, where are you actually going with those dribbles? Nowhere. Like you pretty much dribbled to your guy and now you're dribbling back to try to figure out what else can be done. And his inability to facilitate on top of that. So if you can't create for yourself and then you're not creating for others, that makes it really hard that you're a point guard. Like you get away with that if you're a small forward. You can get away with that if you're a power forward. But you're a point guard who can't do the point guard responsibilities. Like you can catch and shoot the 3 on certain nights at a high clip, but what else? So for me, I'm like, okay, well, if we bring back Alvarado and we bring back Clarkson, we kind of should let Deuce go, like in the offseason. Like we should try to move him before the end of his contract, see what we can get for him, even if it is for a future pick. What are your thoughts? I'll go with you first, Apollo.
I'm sorry, I was reading something just now. What was the question? One more time.
Do you think that we've seen the last of Deuce McBride in a Knicks jersey this season?
I think so.
By the way, Deuce has a year left on his contract.
So that's why I'm saying moving him this summer.
Yeah. I think so, and it's not because I don't like Deuce. I just think that he's very important to this team. You know what I mean? I just don't like the lack of creation. I think the reason why we see a lot of those Alvarado minutes is because coach can actually trust him with the ball in his hand.
Yep.
And I think that's something that you can't really do with Deuce. Like it used to be easy to have Deuce there because it's like, you know why he's there, hit those big shots to defend. But then you have other guys out there who are defending almost as well as he is. You have Shamit, even though Shamit's not necessarily shooting really good the past 2 games, but he's a little bit taller. You know what I mean? He can guard taller guys, but he can still guard guards as well. And I think that when you have a guy like that, you have a guy like what's the other guy I'm talking about? Anyway, regardless, I think the reason why I can say for sure, in my opinion, that I think this will be the last time Deuce will be in a Knicks jersey is just simply because of the fact that it's hard to really play him in a lot of situations if he's not hitting his shot. And like I said, it used to be easy to play him because you had to, because you didn't have anyone else. But now that you have a guy who can defend, actually 2 guys, you got Jose and you have Shamit, it kind of makes Deuce irrelevant. You know what I mean? And you have a lot of these small guys, and you can't really play them all together, and besides for obviously Alvarado and Jalen, but I've always just been really wary about the height of our guards. You know what I mean? And we already have Jalen as our number 1 guard, and he's 6'2" on a good day. Then you got Jose, who's 6 foot maybe on a good day, 11, it's about 5'11". And then you have Shamit, then you have Deuce, and if he's not hitting shots, it's kind of hard to play him. Last night he was 0 for 4 from 3, I believe.
Yeah,
and it's not just the shot missing, it's the shot selection that bothers me. There's a lot of times that he's just taking a shot where he just could have just made a simple pass or just not necessarily shot it so fast, maybe head fake and sidestep. And I kind of wonder if it's the moment getting to him. But it's not that I don't like Deuce. I just think that it's almost redundant having a lot of these smaller guys at the guard position, especially if your main reason on keeping Deuce is so he can hit shots, and then he's not necessarily able to hit shots right now. So personally, I wouldn't say I'm done with Deuce, but I just, with the pieces we have here, I don't necessarily see why you should keep him here if you can use that money to sign somebody else or trade, like you said, trade for someone else that can really help you with probably more size than Deuce has.
Yeah. And I saw a comment that said, keep McBride by all means. And that was Vic. Vic, I'd love to know, besides you said he has a good contract, like what would be your reasons for it? I think the reason that I would say maybe move from him is because he's such a great contract right now.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
we can get something, from another team. We can get a potential, pick for another draft because his contract is so great that a team thinks we can buy in low right now and see if he's the right fit for us. And if he is, then we can extend him. That gives them a little bit of a reason to buy in.
Yeah. He's going to get traded. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He's going to get traded because in the summer he becomes extension eligible and he wants the bag because he has such a small contract. And he does deserve more money than what he's making now. Yeah. I just don't think we need to give it to him.
Yep.
The way our roster is constructed. So the Knicks should totally look to, package him up and get something good in return because, like Phil said, he does have a good contract. I did see another comment that said Deuce shot 40%. He just had 40% from 3. He just had a bad night. No, he's having a bad series. He's shot 3 for 15 from 3 this series. That's 20%. He's shooting from 3. That's horrible. All right, John, like that's really bad. So he's not shooting well. And like you said, if he's not knocking down his shots, he's not facilitating the offense, and he's also struggling on defense because there was a point in the game when somebody scored over Deuce, and I looked over to Phil, and I just went like this, like he's too little.
Yeah,
he's too little.
Yeah,
and
I think that was Castle. That was Castle.
Yeah. Castle did that to him. So I'm just like, look, I think he would be if he was paired with like a big lead guard like Luka or even he can get minutes with like a Jokic that runs point, right? Like he could do well on teams like that have like a big point guard, if you will. That's what, but we don't have that here, right? We have Jalen, so it doesn't make it's like a clumsy fit for him. I've been said that about Deuce, but I think now people are starting to see it for what it's worth, and Shamit does a just as equally good a job as he does, and then next year we should have Diawara contributing significant minutes too, right? And Kolek can help as the backup third string guard or break glass guard if we need somebody to come in after that. So
I know people are bringing up like certain games that he rose, and I understand that, but at the end of the day, we're gonna have to keep the same measuring stick we kept for all players. Like, how do you show up in the playoffs when we need you? I think that was one of the things with Emmanuel Quickly that we said, where Emmanuel had a great series, a great season. He wanted the bag and didn't deliver in the playoffs. And we were like, you can't continue to want the same bag after a rough playoff performance and think just because your regular season performance was good, like that you still deserve it in spite of your playoff performance. Because if we look, Deuce McBride in the 2026 playoffs, yes, he's had some good games, but he's averaging like 6 points a game. Like, so at the end of the day, like, are you really giving a huge contract to 6 points a game? 5.3 points a game in that Cleveland series. And for his career in the playoffs, he averages 6.5 points. Like, he has not been a playoff riser. And that's what we're seeing is there's been some games, and I'm someone that all season was, Deuce. I love Deuce, but at the end of the day, I have to see like, okay, what about moving forward? What about moving forward makes me go, yep, we need that. No, we can get 6 points from anybody off the bench,
We're winning in the NBA finals without his contributions. Like,
exactly.
That kind of says it.
And I just wanted to add too, it's not, and to me, for me personally, it's less about his play. Like people talk about how many shots he's hit and all that. That's fine. It's not his play is the reason why I think it would be easy to move him. It's more because of the cluster of small guards we have on our team. Mixed with the fact that his contract can actually get us someone of some value that can actually help this team continue to get better. Because if you're going to play Alvarado, as we're starting to see, coach likes Alvarado. He's going to get those minutes over Deuce. That's what it's unfortunately he has lost that spot in the rotation to Alvarado. At this point, I think it behooves us to go find someone who can actually fit in a different rotation spot, probably a wing who has a wider wingspan or something like that.
Exactly.
So, something that's just not as clunky to have all of those small guards where you have 2 or 3 games where Deuce is only getting 5 minutes because Alvarado's playing well or Shamit is playing well. And that's really where I'm coming from my point as well.
Yeah.
I think Deuce could go out and hit 5 threes on Saturday. And I think what we're saying still sticks. Like he's still going to be someone that they're going to look to move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to highlight this comment right here. I'll answer this. And he said, what's the difference between Deuce and Kolek? I think the big difference between Deuce and Kolek is you saw in Deuce's like absence when he was injured that Kolek can still score. Kolek can shoot. Kolek can drive. Kolek can create for himself. Kolek, in the short period of time that he's played along Jalen Brunson, has been more of a sponge to the way Jalen Brunson plays and aggressively drives to the basket than McBride has. And McBride has had more time alongside of him. And Kolek can actually facilitate. Like Kolek was leading us in assists when Brunson was out and then when McBride was out. And so Kolek, to me, has more of an upside. And you got to remember that the one thing that I pushed all season during that Kolek thriving was that this is actually, to me, Kolek's rookie season. Because under Tom Thibodeau, he didn't get much playing time unless it was dead time minutes. So McBride has had years to develop into a playmaker, into a facilitator, into a ball handler, and he hasn't. He has stayed as a three-point shooter and a defender, which has been great for us, at different points throughout the season. But Kolek's upside is a lot higher, and it meets a lot more of the things that we need, because we don't need someone that's going to always shoot the three when we have guys like Shamet, Clarkson, Alvarado there now. Like, we have that. We have Jalen Brunson that can shoot the three. But when Jalen goes down, we need someone that can facilitate, that can be able to hold the ball and have control of it. And honestly, his defense got way better.
Got a lot better.
Throughout his play. His defense had gotten a lot better. And that's, something that I think is going to continue to get better, because he is like a sponge. He is a student of the game. And when you're a student of the game, you're never complacent. And I think that certain times you see that complacency in Deuce, because he's had a few seasons to develop these things right here. So real quick,
I just wanted to add one thing to that. If you guys remember the game that we beat the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Cup, Deuce was hurt, and Kolek had a huge game. A really, really, really good game. And, like I said before, we're not comparing him into saying we're going to keep this guy because he's better. It's not about him being better. It's just about the fit of the roster. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Facts. So we're going to go into one last take before we go into our interview with Clint from Sagamore Spirits. I'm excited about this brand. I want to let you guys know before we go into this next segment that it's different, because it's a brand that's not from Louisville. They're not from Bardstown. They're not from the token places. They're not from some of those like extraordinary, like West Coast out of nowhere kind of distilleries. This is a brand from Baltimore, Baltimore. Like when I was growing up, Baltimore had like two things that I thought were important: Cal Ripken Jr. and my dad moving there to marry his second wife. That was the only two things that mattered in Baltimore to me, until Sagamore Spirits came out. And so as a content creator, I started seeing Sagamore come out, and then my guy Ryan Mills started doing some stuff with them. He goes by that one dude Ryan. He's a really big, social media influencer. He started doing some stuff with Sagamore. They released a content creators blend, which I thought was like genius of them to like collaborate with different content creators and have them come pick a barrel. And so I've enjoyed this brand. I've enjoyed the store picks of this brand, and seeing the growth of this brand is cool, because they actually were not distillers for like that had their own distillate at first. They were getting a lot of stuff at MGP at first, because it takes time. It takes time to develop your own stuff. So some of the stuff we're going to be drinking tonight, two of them out of the four are their own distillate. The small batch, and then the new high rye that's dropping, which I can't wait to freaking open this. I know it's going to be a banger. But then this one, the 10-year, well, they didn't start till, a little later. I think it was, and I'm going to make sure that, I run this by him, but I think it was in 2021, they started like having their own distillate. So obviously you add 20 years to 2021. We're not there to have a 10-year reserve bottle. So I believe this one was MGP. So we're going to enjoy those. But before we do, let's go into this small little section where I call, is Jalen Brunson did last night's show the greatest leadership performance by Jalen Brunson? And I'm going to go on a little rant, because I know I've been hard on him as, my favorite New York Knicks player. But I feel like Jalen Brunson was the leader behind that incredible Game 4 comeback. We were down 29 points. And he looked like the captain that we all know him to be. He never looked, shaken or rattled, even after a rough shooting start, and honestly, a rough shooting series to begin with. He kept the team believing that they could fight their way back, because he believed that they could fight their way back. And so he finished with 36 points. I believe it was 7 assists. Y'all can fact check me on that. Hitting big shot after big shot, making smart plays from the 3-point line, from the paint. Some plays that I have no clue how he even got the shot off, yet he got the shot and the foul. And Brunson just delivered time and time again. And even though he missed that last shot, he helped the Knicks pull off one of the biggest comebacks in NBA Finals history, because without him getting us to that point alongside OG Anunoby, there never would have been the potential for that tip. And so the Knicks seemed dead. Like, honestly, like the watch party was silent. Like, it seriously felt like a horror movie. Like, I had never seen a watch party that quiet. We were missing shots. We were playing poorly, but Brunson never stopped attacking. And so for me, last night solidified that there is no excuse why Jalen Brunson does not deserve to be on the Mount Rushmore of greatest New York Knicks of all time. Like, I don't know how you fight that after what we saw last night. So I'm going to play this video, then I'm going to throw it to Al to get your guys' thoughts on, am I reaching? Am I giving him too much credit? Was it good? Not great? I want to hear your guys' feedback. But this is what Jalen Brunson had to say.
Leadership means to you?
It means a lot. My parents raised me to never be a follower, always be a leader, and I feel like it's something that's helped me grow as a person, and it's a role I enjoy having. I enjoy trying to set the table. I enjoy being able to lead by example and lead vocally as well. But it's the chemistry with my teammates that allows me to do so.
What does the word?
So he's talking about how, you know, he actually loves being a leader, but also it's what his teammates allow him to do. And I love that, because leadership is not something that you just get, you know, like it has to kind of be earned. You know, I think of, you know, the movie Mighty Ducks, one of my favorite, you know, series of all time as a kid. And there were times where Charlie had to earn that from his team because he didn't show leadership capabilities. So even though he wore the C, they weren't willing to follow him. But Jalen Brunson wore the C boldly and proudly last night. What are your thoughts, Al, on Jalen Brunson and his performance last night?
He reminds me of Derek Jeter. Like, that's the kind of leader that he is, right? He's all basketball. He's never in any stupid off the court like issues or storylines or any of that stuff, right? Like, the dude is just a basketball player. He leads by example. He's not like a big rah-rah guy that's going to be giving crazy speeches. He leads by example. Everyone sees his work ethic, and it's infectious. And everyone else, you know, becomes, you know, a workhorse, a gym rat, because they see that the best player on the team is doing this. So I better get in line. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of leader he is. I think he's great. I think he's the best leader New York has had, you know, since Derek Jeter. I did also want to call out that Jalen Brunson is averaging 10.3 points per game in the fourth quarter this finals. That is second most in NBA Finals history. And his shooting splits in the fourth quarter are 49 field goal percentage, 62% from three. That's insane. And 87% from the free throw line. Unbelievable. So, like, talk about a leader. This guy's like, get on my back and I'm going to get us across the finish line. That is an amazing leader. My captain, my captain. Let's go, Brunson.
I love it. All right, Apollo Reed, what are your thoughts?
I mean, since we got him, like we knew he was special, but we didn't know he was this special. But just looking at him every single game, like we were down in that game last night, and there was a moment in the second quarter where the only person that did not give up, you could see it in their body language, was Jalen Brunson.
Yeah,
he didn't care. Yeah, he had that look on his eye, and that is the thing. If I really trace back to when I started to feel like I think they're gonna come back, it was when they were down by, I think it wasn't even when they were down by 29 yet. It was before that. It was in the second quarter. I think they might have just been down by 20, 22. And he had his hands on his knees and he just had this look in his eye. And I said, I recognize that look.
Yeah.
I've seen that look before.
Yep.
And he just said, all right, if you guys aren't going to do it, just give me the ball and move. And that's sometimes people hate him for it, but I would rather have that guy that you got to reel in than the guy that you got to hype up. You know what I mean? A lot of guys just don't have the ability to take their game to the next level, especially when it matters. Like this dude's doing things that Jordan was doing. You know what I mean? Like these numbers are not lying. He's the most efficient clutch shooter in the playoffs in NBA history.
Yeah.
And ethical. Don't leave out the word ethical.
And it's, you know, and because most of it, he's not taking these threes. He's not Steph Curry. You know what I mean? He's getting to the sure spot on the floor that will always get you the highest percentage of shots that he can take, especially at his size. And that's at the mid-range. Every great scorer that we've had in this game had a mid-range back, except for Steph Curry, really, honestly. He didn't need one. But every single one of them have a mid-range game. You talk about Kevin Durant, you talk about Jordan, you talk about Kobe, AI, all of the guys that are the top scorers that this game has ever seen, they are really, really, really efficient mid-range scorers. And he continues to prove why he is the leader. He's super humble. He doesn't want the accolades. I truly don't even think he cares about winning finals MVP. You know what I mean? I just honestly think like the dude wants to win and prove everyone wrong. That chip on his shoulder has not moved. I don't know what they glued it down with, but it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like the dude just will not forget anything. So to have that kind of guy who can put the book bag on and be down 29, like I said to my wife, I'm like, if there's one team, and I've said it multiple times throughout the series, that's not the guy you want to piss off. You know, he's not the guy you want to get mad, because you just leave those guys alone. And you know, ever since that I'm in your head, boy, thing that Wemby did, it was a switch that was flipped. You know what I mean? And shout out to Mitch for that. First of all, I love Mitch for that. I love that he did that. It was a taste of the 90s, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. You know what I mean?
Since that moment, the Knicks outscored the Spurs 87-69, and Wemby went 4 for 17 from the field the rest of the way. Since that moment,
I watched the game all over again, and there was a guy that stood up when Mitch did it right on the sidelines. It was applauding Mitch for the chest. I was like, that's my guy. All right, so real quick before we bring up Clint, I do want us to give our thoughts and our takes on the small batch that we sampled before, so that when Clint comes up, he can tell us if we're right or if we're completely ignorant and that we should have never tasted those things. We'll let Clint, tell us what he thought. But what do you guys think about the small batch?
I think it was good. It has your traditional. I have to pour it again, honestly, but traditional, like your caramel and getting some fruit. I'm not sure if it was like a green apple kind of taste that I think that I was getting, but no, not red apple. It one of those two. Either way, really good. It was really good pour, and I am going to be using this a lot more often when I'm not on the show with you guys.
All right, Apollo, what were your thoughts?
Oh, that was Apollo.
I mean, Al. Shut up.
I think it's very good. It's a well balanced drink, easy to drink. It has the typical like vanillas. I would say I'm getting a lot of vanilla and then that typical rye spiciness. It's not. I would say it's about maybe like medium spiciness. It's not like very spicy, but the sweetness is nice on this. The proof point is nice on it. It makes it easy to drink. It's. I would say it's a little on the sweeter side for some people that may not like, sweeter drinks. I think this one's on the sweeter side, but I like it. That it sips really nice for me. What do you think?
Yeah. So for me, at $39, it's a really, really solid pour. Like for me, I did get some of the apples that, you were talking about. It was like for me, a blend of apples and oranges, like a little fruit tray. You know, got some of the honey that you love, a little bit of the caramel, some of that baking spice as well. I think for me, this is like a bourbon drinker's rye, you know, where they don't necessarily love rye, but they love bourbon. And this is like a really good like rye that you can bring out and be like, see, you don't have to be afraid of rye. It's not going to bite you in the mouth. Like it's not going to like kill you. It's not going to give you a purple nurple every time you try to, you know, take a sip of it. So for me, I think that's a really good transition bottle there. I also think that for some of my favorite cocktails that I love to make, this would be a great bottle. Like for me, I like taking a lot of bourbon or rye, you know, cocktails and making a bourbon rye blend. But I feel like I don't need to blend a bourbon and a rye for something like this. I feel like I can make some of my favorite cocktails like a fancy free or an old fashioned or a Manhattan or a Boulevardier or, you know, a Southern Sunset or something like that. I can make those cocktails with this, and I don't need to blend a bourbon and a rye because you get a bourbon type sweetness, but still you get that rye spice. So I think it's a great transition. So without further ado, we're going to bring up Clint. And once again, when it comes to the cocktail industry, I don't know if Clint knows anything about basketball, but I don't really care. We're going to talk basketball and we're going to talk whiskey with him, and he's just going to enjoy it, and he's going to tell us more about Sagamore. So without further ado, this is Clint from Sagamore.
Hey guys,
What up,
how's
Clint?
it going?
Good, man.
You guys
How are you?
also have your voices after last night.
Yeah.
Mine's even kind of gone. It's kind of crazy. It was what a game. What a comeback.
It was incredible.
Great.
Man. I was I'm back home in Baltimore today, but I was actually up in New York last night. I was in Manhattan. We were wrapping up BCB, so I got to watch the game in the city, and the energy was. I've never felt anything like that. I mean, I come from Phoenix, so my teams we don't really have a great track record of winning too often. So it's good to feel that kind of energy.
That's awesome. You
Yeah,
know,
we got two of your guys on our team too.
Dude, you got our prodigal son, my man Bridges, probably one of my all time favorite sons, not players of all time. Shamit, I like Shamit. I think sometimes he's on or he's off. It's one or the other. He's either going to hit every three or it's like he'll go 0 for 12 and you're like, stop shooting. And he's like, I think I can hit it from 3/4 of the court right now. And it's like, come on, man, what are you doing? So, but no, you guys excited to see what happens Saturday night. So
you know, it's crazy because you're the second person with it. There goes my light. You're the second person within the whiskey industry that we've had on in the past month that were in the city this week. My guy John from Peerless texted me the other day, and he was like, "I'm in a watch party in Central Park," and I was like, "Holy crap! What are you doing there?" And so I believe he was there probably for the same event that you were at. So it was pretty cool to just like hear that you were there as well, because the vibes have been like insane. Obviously, one thing we'll say is we love the energy and the vibes, but one thing we were talking about in our chat is you see all these videos of these like ridiculous like young kids and immature like 20 somethings ruining this moment for actual basketball fans. Like we do not claim those people in our fan base. And we want to speak out against it, because those videos that are getting millions and millions of views and like traction and like laughing emojis and all this stuff of people like stomping into a Five Guys and beating, you know, the employee because he's a Spurs fan and hitting him with chairs and leaving him unconscious on the floor, or fighting an old man in a Spurs jersey, like 30-on-1. Like we do not support that. And as the KOT family, we want to say, like, if you watch this and you're one of those people, please stop being a Knicks fan. Like, you are not one of us. We don't support that. We are not okay with that. Like, this is a game that we're passionate about, but it's a game at the end of the day. Like, it should not be taken past that. That is unacceptable. We do not support it, and we want to make that very clear on our channel, because unfortunately, there are content creators that are reposting those videos and think it's funny, and we do not. So
I don't even repost or like comment back on any of that stuff saying this. I don't give it the time of day because they want you to repost it, right? That's the whole reason they do that stuff. So I don't even, I'm glad you didn't even put any of that stuff up on the screen, but I'm glad that you addressed it, because it's kind of like a little bit of a dark cloud over the Knicks right now when everything should be so positive as to like what this team is accomplishing right now. So, anyways, glad you said it.
Yeah,
perfectly said. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, of course. All right, Clint. So let us know your role within Sagamore. And let me know if I was completely out of pocket with, the MGP versus your guys' current distillate.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely kind of dive deep into that part there. So my role, I'm the global advocacy manager. So best way to say it is global brand ambassador for the company. Been with it will be 2 years, I think like 2 weeks. It's like right around 4th of July. Will be my 2-year anniversary with the brand. So exciting times. The logo that you guys had up before, we are actually in the process of rolling out our new branding, our new logos. So if we do this call again a year from now, it'll actually be Sagamore Whiskey over Sagamore Spirits.
Okay.
So we're changing the names, getting all that in. End of the day, when we started as a company, we didn't know what the direction was. The spirit sounded good, but we make whiskey. We're going to make whiskey. That's all we're going to do. So we're changing it up. We'll keep the shield, the Sagamore Rice shield hard on it. Switch into a little Baltimore love on it. That's what we are. We're Maryland style rye. We want to be, if you go back historically to 1750s all the way through to Prohibition, Maryland style rye was big. It was its own thing. It was that little bit more corn sweetness. It was like California wine, Georgia peaches.
Yeah.
So we want to take it, we want to bring it back to what it was and, be the owners of that category and be the ones that, hopefully 10 years down the line, it's a big category again. And we're like, hey, we are Maryland, right? It's like Tennessee whiskey and Jack Daniels. Something along those lines. Why don't you think of us that way? But no, you weren't off on the time. The timeline was a little off, but also it's my job to know all of that, not yours. So great job with it. You actually took a pretty good stab at it. We started in 2017 is when the distillery actually opened.
Okay.
So we started distilling at that point. 2013 was the company's birth, but you were dead on. Obviously, it costs a lot of money. You can't start distilling and then just go, hey, we'll just wait 6 years and see what happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good. Yeah. So in the early days, we did work with MGP, Ryan Norwood, our master distiller, sat down with them and worked out what our recipe looked like. We do a double mash bill, which I'll get into a little bit more in a second. But the idea was to learn how we wanted to make it. So we were able to start implementing it as we went. So in 2017, we went live, started producing our own. About 4.5 years into that, we were able to start integrating some of our own whiskey in. But the plan was always to ultimately be where we are now, where we're pretty much completely, with the exception of a couple of things, we're completely turned over to producing in-house.
Awesome.
So we probably did small batch was the first one. That had to be 24, probably early 2024. We switched over just because that one 4 to 6 years. Last year we got to the cash strength, which is a 7-year minimum now. 100. We kicked up a lot of them when we switched over too. So our old small batch, which is the first one you guys are doing, that used to be 83 proof with MGP. We decided we like it a little stronger. So we kicked it up to 93 proof. And I agree, exactly. There's some lines that threw out there that I use. So I was pretty excited to hear that. Al, I think you said is, the bourbon drinkers rye kind of remind you of Phil, might have been one of you. That's actually something I say all the time. It's kind of like I jokingly call it a gateway rye when you're getting into it. It is because we do that little bit of corn to it, gives it that little sweetness, which is stylistically what Maryland rye was. Yeah. It's going to be a little sweeter on the palate, Green apples, Apollo, you brought that up. Great note right on the bat. Those are the flavors you get. You are going to get some of that fruit. You'll get some of that spice, but it's not it doesn't kick you in the face as hard. It's kind of like you get the spice initially, but then just finish as well. And then Phil, you started talking. The first thing out of my mouth is, where did he work? Because you just started rattling off classics like it was going on. Oh, man, Jesus. I bartended for 20 years. I'm like, God, these naming drinks I haven't made in 10. So it's like, good for you on that. But yeah, guys, I mean, let's, small batch. We can jump right into that. Let's get a little liquid on lips.
So we had the small batch, which we love.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's talk. What would you want us to explore next? The high rye or the 10-year?
Let's start 10-year. I don't have a bottle of 10-year to show you, but something cooler is I got this little charm right here.
Nice.
So at this past week in New York at the New York Spirits show, we got double gold for the 10-year.
That's awesome.
It's kind of hard to read it. Yeah, I haven't made it back to the office yet. I got home that late today, so figured I'd show that off. You guys have a bottle. I've got a little trinket, but
awesome. All right, so
10-year, let's go to that 10-year.
And as we sip it, we're gonna enter into our next little segue of Knicks talk while we chew on this and make sure that we actually figure out what we're tasting, and then we'll throw it back to you. So for the non-whiskey drinkers in there, we're back to Knicks talk for a few minutes. But do try this whiskey because it's absolutely delicious. But this is a segment that I'm extremely ecstatic about. And I think that we're all on one accord. When I hit up the guys, typically we'll say like, hey, what do you guys want to chat about? And one person will have a thought. We'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do that. But then there's sometimes where there's topics that all of us are like, yes, of course that needs to happen. That's exactly where we want to take this. And that is OG for MVP of the finals. I think last night solidified that. I know earlier in the series we were like, could it be Cat, and everything like that. And no knock to Cat, but Cat has kind of, not been able these last two games when the Spurs, started coming at us a little more, was not really able to rise in certain situations. But OG has been the most consistent, and he may not get as much attention as Jalen Brunson, but that's because he's more of a quiet player. He's always been that quiet player. But his impact on this finals run is honestly impossible to ignore. Like last night, he came up huge for us on both ends of the floor, knocking down big shots, making timely plays, and taking one of the toughest defensive assignments all game long. That's one thing that OG has consistently done in the playoffs, especially in the series, is taking on the toughest defensive assignments. And so while Brunson drives the offense, OG has kind of been the most complete two-way player that we've seen throughout the series, consistently guarding their best scorers, still providing key scoring for us, momentum shifts, changing plays. And if the Knicks finish the job and win the title, Anunoby definitely deserves to be in that finals MVP conversation because of how he affects every single part of the game, not just the offense or the defense. Even when it doesn't always show up, like we say, in the box score. But last night, it actually did show up in the box score, 33 points, 7 3-pointers, the game-winning putback, game-saving block, but also that last play, if he does not come crashing in like that from the 3-point line, mind you, like he came up like Superman from that 3-point line. If he does not tip that in and we just get a rebound, there's no guarantee we get a shot off. There's no guarantee that they don't get the rebound. And honestly, us coming back that much and then losing could have really been a momentum shift for the rest of this series. We would not be up 3-1. We would be 2-2 going into San Antonio. Them, like high on life that they got to, stop us from that most historical comeback, yet still losing. So for me, I have to say that he is that guy. And I'm going to throw it to Apollo. But first, we're going to share this little video by Mike Brown because I think it's the perfect video to go into how we see OG Anunoby and that play. So,
yeah, you mentioned what you said about OG, but also you were riding those guys right to the end, him and Jalen. I don't think Sat maybe at all. Just kind of to see what they were doing and probably exhausted for OG to make that play. Just kind of how exceptional is that?
It's unbelievable. The tip, how he had to control it and tip it in from. I mean, like I said, that has to be the most iconic shot in the history of New York basketball. I mean, I'm not you guys know better than me, but it was just unbelievable. Jalen played the whole half. OG didn't, but we rode those guys, and they did a fantastic job of trying to play both ends of the floor, trying to play fast while trying to give it to us defensively.
So, he said, I don't, know as much as you guys, but that has to be the most historic. And I know some people from different eras might debate like which is the most historic moment, but there is no denying that what OG did last night to solidify that game has to be in the same category as the Larry Johnson 4-point play, the Willis Reed walking out of the tunnel, moment. Allen Houston shot against Miami. Like he is in that category. Like he has solidified himself as a New York legend.
Stark dunk.
We saw that Starks dunk. Yeah, it's in that category.
His has the higher stakes. His was in the NBA Finals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think he takes the cake.
It takes the cake.
He does.
He might get a statue.
And I agree, because at the end of the day, like, all of those plays were to try to get us, to this, and so at the end of the day, with the biggest comeback on the line, it would have been all for nothing if that moment did not happen. Like, if we still lost.
Well, I'm curious in the chat, man. Whoever's still in the chat, type in the chat if you think that this is the biggest Knicks moment or like shot, or if you have something else above it, and which one do you have above it? I'm curious to see what the
I'd
chat
love
says.
to hear that. So there's 225 of you rocking with us right now. We appreciate each and every one of you that are here supporting. If you're on Instagram or Twitter, please move your little butts over to YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're here chopping it up with Clint from Sagamore Spirits, delicious whiskey, talking about one of the greatest moments of Knick fandom. What are your thoughts, Apollo? I'll go with you first. Do you think that OG should be considered for MVP? And does this solidify him as one of the most incremental New York Knicks moments of all time?
I think definitely. I think when you look at the Warriors and Andre Iguodala winning that one, you look at who else was it? I just had him tip of my tongue. But either way, two-way players. Two-way players are usually the guys who can deliver on both ends of the floor, and not just be a scorer, but to also deliver everything on the other side of the ball. In Mike Brown's presser, he actually talked about him challenging OG to get the offensive rebound.
Yeah.
Which, and even Mitch joked about it during his presser. He said something about he actually grabbed an offensive rebound, which is it must be a running topic. This must be something that they talk about during film sessions. And for him to make that play at that time, I think that play alone elevates him into Finals MVP conversation. He had a big game, great. You know what I mean? That big block on De'Aaron Fox. You know what I mean? Great. But that tip-in could have won us the NBA championship. I think that is a really, really important play to end that game. I'm sure, they lost the 29-point lead. As much as we should give them praise for coming back and being resilient, they deserve as much, I guess, hate for losing that lead and allowing us to come back and allowing that to happen. But that play is game defining. No one will ever forget that. Everyone was watching that. This entire country was watching that. And they kind of, someone, I forgot exactly who said it. But I was watching some media stuff earlier, and somebody mentioned like it was like MJ and Pippen. You know what I mean? You had one guy out there willing to defend the best player, and do all the dirty work, and still deliver on the offensive end. And then you had one guy who's just clutch, who's just taking it to him all game long. You know what I mean? And that's it's just so important to have that sidekick. If OG doesn't step up that game, we're not here to. First of all, our vibe will be completely different right now. You know what I mean? But just for him to, and he even spoke about when he was on the Raptors championship run and he was hurt and he couldn't contribute to that team, but him being in that locker room and seeing what they went through every day, the work that they put in, seeing what Kawhi did and all these guys and Pascal and how they contributed to that win. I think a lot of experience, like, we talk about experience a lot. We don't realize how much experience a lot of these guys on this team have. And OG is one of those guys, man. He's really been just lights out. He's shooting the ball at a supremely high clip. What is he, 10 for 15 this game? He was 10 for 15, 7 for 9 from the three-point line. It's just ridiculous, the kind of game that he was having. Of course, he was a -1. It's because he's in the game with a lot of those, the minutes that they were losing. But just so important at very crucial times of the game. And, for him to see that he wasn't being guarded and to take on the challenge of going to go get that offensive rebound at that time, I think that just solidifies him as the Finals MVP. If he even has, if they win next game and he just has a good game, he doesn't even have to have a game to the level as he did last night. But if he just has a good game, I think that he locks himself in for Finals MVP for sure.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna throw it to Al in a second, but comments like this make so much sense. By far the biggest. No other shot put us on the brink of a championship. So if you look at it historically, okay, fun little fact. There's 74, I believe. Yeah, 74 NBA finals that have happened that it was a 2-2, split. And at that point, it's a 50-50.
0-0. Yeah, 0-0. Yeah.
You're 0-0. Anybody can win. That's 74 times in the NBA finals that it's been a 2-2 split. There's only one time in NBA history that a team has come back from a 3-1. One time in all of NBA history.
That LeBron?
Yeah, that was the LeBron Golden State series.
Yeah.
So for OG to get us from a 74 happens often 2-2 split, 50% chance of winning to a one-time ever 3-1 scenario. All that came down to that OG Anunoby tip.
I thought the Knicks were up 3-1 on Houston in 94.
In the finals?
In 94. Yeah, I thought we was up 3-1.
I thought it was 3-2. Wasn't it 3-2?
I think it was 3-2.
Oh. I've been saying that we were up 3-1.
I can be wrong, but just double check that.
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
But back to OG. You know how easy it at that point in the game, how easy it could have been for him to just not crash the boards. Like, you know how tired he was playing the both ends of the floor all game at that point in the game. Like, that many seconds left is like, yo, okay, he took the shot. That's it. Like, this is it. Like, this is either going in or it's over. He could have so easily taken that approach, and he didn't. And you know why? If you listen to his post game, he credited Mike Brown. He said Mike Brown challenged him to go hit he challenged him to rebound more, but he challenged him to hit the offensive glass. And he said in that moment, he was thinking about the charge that he got from Mike Brown to hit the offensive glass. My God, thank you, Mike Brown. The other thing that I want to mention is he's averaging 23.8 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 3.8 3-points made per game, shooting 58% from the field, 56% from 3, and 92% from the free throw line. It is the most efficient 20 points per game final series by a player in NBA history, shooting 78.4% true field goal percentage, true shooting percentage. That is crazy. Now, having said all that, he has a very good case for MVP. So does Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has scored 30 points, 3 times in the series. He's hit a lot of clutch baskets for us. Brunson, was a lot of the reason why we came back. He was cooking in that fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So he has a case as well. So it's going to be interesting how this shakes out. I wouldn't be surprised if they give it to Brunson. I know his is a little less efficient, but still we need him to do those things. And I also wouldn't be surprised if it goes to OG. Let's see what game 5 brings.
So I love that. I love that point. But this is what I'm gonna say. Jalen is Jalen, clutch as can be. We don't get in spots like this without Jalen and OG doing this together. Okay. But why I give it to OG is because his impact isn't just in those clutch scoring moments. Right. Like, you never look back and go, oh man, look at Jalen Brunson's like full on defensive regiment from that game that deserves, but OG, you can go to the defensive side and say he's locked down everybody. You can go to the offensive side and go, oh my goodness, he contributed 2 points less than our captain, and if you go stat line for stat line in the fourth quarter, like I said, OG plays a quiet game. So yes, Brunson had 9 points on 3 for 6 of shooting, had 2 rebounds and 2 assists. OG had 8 points, so only 1 point less than Brunson at 100% shooting, 1 rebound, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. So even though Jalen Brunson gets the accolades for that fourth quarter because he's our captain, numbers wise, OG Anunoby's were more impressive even in that fourth quarter that everyone credits to Jalen Brunson. So you got to look at the whole like full picture there on that. And then the last thing I'll say about it is when you were talking about the series, it actually was 3-4. The Knicks led 3-2, and then the Rockets won the last 2 games. So it wasn't a 3-1, it was a 3-2.
Okay.
And then they actually won the last 2. So I'm gonna let Apollo give another point, and then we're gonna go on the 10-year because Apollo's got an early night because he's got clean toilets in the morning. So
I knew it was coming. I don't know why I didn't expect it. It's cool.
So we'll let you give your thought, and then we'll give your thoughts on the 10-year before you have to run.
The one point I wanted to make is that on that last shot that Jalen took, he could have been mad that he didn't get the ball because he was open. You know what I mean? I think once he threw that inbound, no one really paid attention to him. I think De'Aaron went to double JB with Wemby.
Yep.
So he was wide open. He could have been mad, but he stayed humble, he stayed focused, and he crashed the boards. You know what I mean? He remembered what the coach said, even until the last minute. After coming back and doing everything, he still said, you know what? I still have to make a team play. And I was listening to not Monica McNutt, the girl Abumake. She played for, I forgot, she's a WNBA player. Chanel Abumake, I think her name is. She said she was sitting next to OG's brother during the game. And he said to her, he said, my brother makes championship plays. We don't know what he's going to do at this point, but he makes championship plays. And for him to make that shot, and you saw with the Garden went insane. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of guy he is. He's humble. He could have sat there and moped and said, you know what? I didn't get the ball. You didn't pass it to me. And he could have just stood there and just hung his shoulders. But instead, he was Josh Hart's savior, because as Josh Hart said in his post game, he said, if he saved me from a lifetime of regret. And Josh meant that with every fiber of his being, because he missed that open layup. He missed the assignment. He didn't box out on Stephon Castle, and he gets that put back and goes to the line and hits 2 free throws. If OG doesn't make that tip, Josh is blaming. He's at home last night, mad at himself for the plays that he made.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and just shout out to OG for just being humble and making a team play no matter what, and putting everything out of his mind and just making sure that they got the dub last night.
Yeah, what's great is first you brought the him not complaining. How many times have we seen, even from our team, someone take a shot and the people are like, even the best friends, like Josh is like, why'd you shoot that? I'm right here. Or Mikhail being like, okay, we've seen that so many times. But OG, though he was completely open, even Jalen in his post game talked about how they swarmed me, and I took a contested shot. Jalen straight up said, I took a contested shot. I had a good enough look. I took a contested shot, but there were 2 on me, and OG crashed the basket. Yep. That is true basketball IQ. And shout out to, let me find this take right here. My guy Al's sister always dropping dimes in the chat.
What'd she say? I didn't even see it.
Yeah, she definitely dropped it down. The IQ one.
Where is it? Yeah, she on fleek always. Let's see. She said, in his post game, he said he was going in for a dunk. Mid-air, he realized the ball only needed a light touch to go in, so he tipped it in instead. That's great basketball IQ. Genius. The fact that he has that kind of IQ with the game on the line mid-air, is incredible. And to your last point, Apollo, before we go into the tasting notes,
Mm-hmm.
Josh Hart made it very known that he owes everything to OG to not be in misery last night. But I also want to give Josh Hart props, because in a moment like that, you could be completely defeated for the rest of your time out on the court. But after that moment, when OG had that tip-in, okay, it was in that last play that Josh Hart actually did a really great job, because he beat himself up in that moment. You could see how many times he was like whispering under his breath. He grabbed his head multiple times. Yet in that last play, he got his head back in the game. They overthrew him and it overshot his head, and he lost a little bit of like his footing because Victor kind of like set the pick on him. Josh regained his composure and he made up for it on that last play. He didn't freak out that Castle was behind him. He got his footing back. He established position, and he did not foul Castle. Just went straight up like this, did not move, and ended up actually getting contact with the ball as Castle tried to force it up. So I got to give props to Josh Hart where it's due, because in a moment where you feel like you could have cost your team everything, you could have been so in your head that you did cost your team everything. But he didn't. He kept a level head and played that last possession brilliantly.
One more thing on OG, just because I used to play ball back in my day, and my guy Don Melion is in the chat with me, and I just know if I was Jalen Brunson and I took that shot and Don Melion was OG, Don Melion would not have crashed the boards. He just would have watched us lose. That dude right there, like, come on, man. Yo, take some notes from OG, my guy.
Oh, yeah. We're taking stabs at our chat now.
That's hilarious, man.
I'll let you go first on your thoughts on this incredibly delicious 10-year reserve series, 10-year Sagamore Rye. I do want to say one thing real quick. This goes for $85.99 MSRP, which is a freaking steal for a 10-year this good. So,
10-year, yeah.
All right, Apollo, what were your thoughts on it?
Of course, it has your traditional rye spice. It gives me like I couldn't think of it, like a peppery rose or flower. You know what I mean? Like it has like a minty or peppery spice to it, but it still has like a flowery or like the word is floral. Sorry, a floral kind of taste. You know what I meant. But yeah, floral kind of taste to it. But of course, the traditional taste of the rye in there for sure. But definitely a nice pour. What is the proof of this one?
110. I think.
Yeah. What is?
Wow. It doesn't drink like a one. Yeah, it doesn't drink like a 110 at all. Yeah, I like this. This is really good. This is really good.
What are your thoughts, Al?
All right, so the spice level kicked up a notch on this one for sure. The first sip was a little tough for me, but on the second sip, it gets a little easier. But it's rewarding for you to make it to the second sip. Let me tell you, because I love complex bourbons, ryes, and this one you get a lot of different notes. I got that floral. I got some honey. I got some berries, and then on the finish, I got peaches on the finish. I just very strong peach note coming down towards the end of the finish. It was amazing, man. That was a really nice note.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
You know what's crazy is very rarely do I get a nose on a rye or a bourbon and yet taste it and not feel like I get what I smelt. Like when I smell it, it smells like a maple syrup pancake with mint on top. Like that's what I get on the nose. And that's what I expected to get from the palate is like, I smelt it. I got the rye freshness that you get, like, oh, cool. I get some maple. And then I tasted it and I was like, I don't taste the maple and I don't taste the mint. And so I went back in and like Al said, it's very complex. Like I love tea and I love floral. And so this gives me like a floral tea vibes. It's definitely got, hints of that rye spice. I didn't get as much of the rye spice as Al got. I thought it was actually pretty tame on the rye spice, but I did get some like strawberries. I also got like some like sugar cookie, like the sweetness of a sugar cookie. And that was really, really delightful. And then I too, like Al, got like some peach and some like orange at the end of it. So I felt like this was such a complex pour, because every time, like Al said, I sipped it, it was a little bit different. I got different flavors out of it than I previously got. So I think this is a standout pour. Anything that we're missing from this one, Clint?
No, I mean, you got everything dead on with it. I mean, it's stone fruit, big, sugar cookie. All those notes are really prominent in it. The 110.8 on it is kind of one of those perfect little levels. And for the tenure, it's a cool one, because this was our swan song to the MGP life. So this was when we bottled this up, this was what we had left. Essentially, we pulled a few of the barrels to be our private barrels for this year. So if you get any of those barrels this year, you'll see the 10 years, kind of black label, really, really sexy bottle.
Nice.
But that's it. I mean, we don't have enough to do 11 year or anything like that, nor do we really want to. I think 10 years that golden mark for it. So
yeah,
this is it. You're tasting the last of MGP, and it's bittersweet, because it went out with a bang. We got number 7 overall Whiskey Advocates Whiskeys of the Year last year with this bottle, and when you see it, pick it up, because once it's done forever. So there's we don't have any extra 10 year laying around. So it's done. After this, it's going to be ours. So
I love it.
But I think you guys said it right. Yeah, the stone fruit is a little spice. I like the floral spice of it. Peppery rose. That was a good touch. Like, you definitely get a little bit of that heat. And then again, it's one of those that you do get the rye heat, but it doesn't drink at 100, almost 111 proof. It's
right.
It definitely punches a little lower in a great way. So
yeah, I love that. I see a comment right here from Al's sister. She said, I live in Delaware, so Sagamore is very known and popular here. I've enjoyed all the ones I've tried. I'll have to plan a visit to the distillery soon. Me and Al will come up and we will join you, and so will Apollo. Apollo, I know you got to go. Those porcelains are waiting for you early in the morning. So let everybody know where they can find you and support you, Mr. Guard Up Knicks.
Let me just say, I 99% of the time I don't have to deal with a grown person's toilet. Usually they know how to take care of those things. But last week I got one of those calls, and I said, Phil and I are gonna have to have a talk. I avoided it for a long time, and then pop up, and it's just I had to deal with that. But it's fine. It's my job. I'm a manager, so I don't always have to do it. I can always delegate those kind of things, because I have a lot of important things that I have to do. But every now and then I gotta get in the mud. No pun intended. I gotta get it out the mud, But you can find me at Guard Up Knicks everywhere, man. On Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Shout out to you, Clint, for these great pours. What else I gotta say? Knicks in 5, man. Knicks in 5. Let's finish it on Saturday. Let's link up at the parade. You know what I mean? Like let's keep these vibes going. And I personally, just one last point on the Knicks. I remember how Phoenix looked after we came back from that 22-point comeback, and you will always play with fear, looking in the rearview mirror, if there's a team that can come back from 29 points and a half. And I just don't know if this team has the experience to combat that and to win not only 3 straight, but I'm not even sure if they can make it to 6 games. So hopefully Saturday we take care of business. These guys have focused. I'm hoping Josh has one of those games where he reminds everybody why we love him so much. And let's go, man. 53 years.
Before I let you go, what's one thing that you think the Knicks need? We're going to have a little series on this before we go, but what's one thing you think the Knicks need to change in Game 5 to solidify that we are walking that parade very soon?
Turnovers. Take care of the ball. Take care of the ball. Same thing. The last 2 games, back-to-back games with 13 turnovers. Can't happen.
So I want to shout out Apollo. I also want to shout out his boss for sending me this photo because it's a perfect transition to ending.
No way.
What you got going on now, man?
No way.
Is they need to clean that crap up. All right. The Knicks, when it comes to the turnovers, the Knicks need to clean that crap up. All right?
First of all, I would never disrespect this hat like that. Ever. Never. But this is great. This is great content, man.
Let's clean that crap up in the next game. Let's get that W. I love you, bro. Appreciate you. All right.
Later, peace, Apollo.
Good night. All right, everyone in the chat, we got an open panel right now. I just posted the link. If you have any thoughts on any of the things that we have been talking about or we are going to talk about, please come on up. We have one more pour with Sagamore Spirits that we're going to pour right now. And as we sip on it and enjoy it, we're also going to talk about the next topic. But I'm excited for this because this is a new product. And anyone who knows me knows that I am on a freaking giant high rye kick. That's the official bottle right there. Holy crap.
Beautiful. And you got me on a high rye kick.
Yep. When does that drop? Has it officially dropped?
Not yet. So I got my samples sitting on my desk today when I got back into town. I stopped by real quick to grab this because I knew they were going to leave it there on my way in. But yes, the high rye bourbon will be hitting shelves roughly July 1st. We should start shipping it next week. So
okay. And what's MSRP on this one?
It's an LTO, so it's going to kind of range somewhere anywhere in that 60 to 80 range. I would say it'd be the safest spot to find it. Maybe a little bit less. I mean, we're doing 1,500 cases across the U.S. It's not a full-time release. It's going to be a limited. That's kind of our plan with it. So get it while you can. 108 proof. So if you we did this last fall. We did a 500 case drop in the DMV. So, DC, Virginia, Maryland area. For those that might not know what that is, there's one or two, I'm sure. But we had it originally at higher proof. We brought it down to 108 just to kind of stretch it a little bit more so we could get a little bit more out to the people. And honestly, it doesn't miss a beat. I'm actually really excited to have this in my hand right now. So
I'm excited.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's a true high rye. It's 60% corn. We're doing a 25% rye and then 15% malted rye. So 40% of it, there's no malted barley. It's straight up rye or malted rye, bringing it together.
I love it. It smells incredible.
Some, beautiful, honey notes off that right off the bat too. Right when you rip it, phenomenal. Yeah, the nose is amazing.
I love it. All right, we're gonna chew on this one. We're gonna bring up my guy, Mr. Joe, most optimistic Knicks.
Yo, what's going on, Phil?
Joe,
Al,
what up,
Al? Yo, salute to Clint. How we doing, guys?
How's it going?
Good. Great time to be alive. Great time to be a Knicks fan. And I feel like you joined at the perfect time because this is going to be a fun little time that we're going to talk about right now as we chew on this sip right here. I have a little part of it. I want to give a shout out to all the guys. I was going to play the videos, but I want to move on. But all of the guys gave OG mad props in all the post-game interviews.
Like, that's where I was going.
Yeah. Jalen, Josh, Mikhail, they all gave their props to him and how he is a superstar. And that's what I loved about what they said. They didn't say he's an all-star. They said this guy is a superstar, and we are so lucky to have him on our team. And so I love that they're all giving him praise because I love the fact that he's getting the recognition that he's deserved for many years. He talks about how disappointing it was to not play in the finals in the Rocket series, which he was a huge contributor to get them to the finals, but then the injury kept him from playing it. So I love that he's excelling and thriving and having the best games of his career. But the last segment I want to do, which I'm glad you're here for, is 5 things that I think must improve for us to wrap this up in Game 5. So I'm going to bring up the topic, and then I'm going to throw it to you and Al to give your thoughts on these 5 things that I think are the improved things that need to happen. And the first one is something we've seen from every single game, and that is us falling behind early. Like very, very behind. We were down 41-22 after the first quarter, and we went into the half with the biggest deficit at halftime from a road team in the finals, 76-49 at halftime. And so we cannot rely on another miracle comeback. The Spurs scored only 30 points in the second half after we let them score 76 in the first half. So what are your thoughts? And I'll go with you first, Joe, since you're the guest in the room and the guest should always be able to prepare their plate first. What are your thoughts on the Knicks making sure that we don't fall behind early, and how do we prevent that from happening? But before I do that, I'm also going to bring up another friend of the channel that I love, and he's going to chime in too. My guy who may not crash the boards, but he is crashing the party right now, Mr. Don Bellion.
Salute.
What up, Don?
Yo, what
Yeah,
Al, what Al is saying is absolute nonsense, bro. Y'all fell right in for the trap, but it's all good, man.
All right,
It's
Don,
all good.
I'm gonna be honest because I wouldn't make these jokes early when Al first came on, but now that I love Al and Al's like family to me, I kind of look at Al and I go, but would you crash the boards? You know, after knowing Al as long as I have and building that relationship, I'm like, maybe he's calling Al, calling Don the Al of the group. I don't know, but we're gonna let you go next, Don.
Phil, I'll touch down and you'll see why this is not true. Like in physicality, you'll see why this is not true. But fellas, I appreciate you as always. Clint, I wish the best for your brand. Amazing time, man. Like what WTF? Because I'm gonna keep it clean.
Well, stick around because I'm gonna have you give your take on this question next before I let Al go.
For sure.
So, Joe, what are your thoughts? Like, what do we have to do to prevent this late start? Because last night was crazy, but we can't rely on that.
Yeah, you know, for a long time, we've been coming back from these games down 20 plus. And, you know, like you're saying, we can't rely on having to come back. But I want to give a salute to Mike Brown because he's got our guys prepared mentally for facing adversity. And that's the first thing, you know, when it comes to coaching. But when it comes to these, you know, these slow starts, I want to see better perimeter defense, man. We're leaving guys wide open. Champagne's getting free looks. Harper's getting free looks. You know, when we're rotating in our defensive sets, it's like that last guy's getting the ball and we're just a couple steps late to the party. So, you know, I want to see us play a lot better on defense, especially around the perimeter. But another thing, you know, I think our offensive sets could be a lot better, man. I've seen us do the off-ball screens. I've seen us moving in rotation. I've seen us get in the lane and beat our defenders, create those advantages, right? Whether it's a lob to Mitchell Robinson or we're setting Cat up as a hub to make, you know, that pass in the lane for Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby. Like, there's stuff in our bag that we can do that we're not really executing on right now. So, like, I feel like we're playing below our standards and we're still pulling out these wins. Granted, you know, we're down 29 points. We have to have the mental fortitude to come back from these games, and we're doing it pretty well. So we got to give our guys salutes to that. And, yo, OG coming out of nowhere, man. Absolutely fire. Yo, that's the eye of the competitor, man, to be able to follow up on a play and make a big-time play to save the game. Yo, big ups to OG, man.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these slow starts, like I said, I think our defense needs to fix around the perimeter, and our offensive sets, man, we need to do a better job of, you know, executing our game plan. Because I think we have a lot more in our bag that we've shown this series, that we've shown in other series, like in Cleveland and in the Sixers series. So,
yeah,
man.
I agree. All right, Don, what are your thoughts like on this slow series? Slow starts? Do you think that this needs to be fixed in order to solidify Game 5? And how do we fix that?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with like the points that Joe made and some of what you all expressed. Like, I'm gonna say this. Definitely, we have to like address that early. Not too many times you could be down 29, 30 points and make a run like that, right? So especially like in the finals in a tight spot like that. So I agree with everything Joe was saying, but I'll say this: like, I think that one of the adjustments that we saw was Mike Brown go to like an exotic lineup. And when I say exotic, it's like the double PG, and I put that in the chat.
Yeah, with GTA, yeah.
That double PG adjustment shifted the momentum in the game. Meaning Alvarado, shout out to Bushwick, shout out to Brooklyn. Alvarado, sorry, Alvarado came in and made immediate impact to the game, and not only in his scoring and defense, but like schematic, right? Like the schematics of the game shifted for San Antonio in ways that they couldn't figure it out, mixed out with fatigue, and they were cooked. They were done.
Yeah.
So like I think in game 5, don't be afraid to jump out into the exotics early.
Yeah.
Mix up the lineups, keep them confused. And I think that's it, man. I think we can bring it home with that. Like that shift from the first half to the second half was amazing, and it's because Mike Brown, he didn't make that substitution. Like OG came in, Alvarado thought he was subbing out. OG said no. Mikel came out, and that changed the game, man. So I just feel like dare to be different. Don't seek like a bluer ocean, and just keep flipping it around, man. That's my take. That's the only thing. I was lost for words last night. I don't know, man. Like, but that's the one thing that I thought really, attributed to like us winning that game.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think Mike Brown exploring that lineup was absolutely risky and genius at the same time. Now that we know it works, I don't think we need to allow it to be so late in the game that we try that. Like, I think that when it comes to all of our defenders outside of OG Anunoby, the one that has made it the most hard and stressful for the Spurs has been Jose Alvarado. And I think we need to bring that in early. We need to frustrate them. Like, their shooting percentage when Jose Alvarado was out there drastically shifted. They had such a tough time scoring when he was out there. So I think we need to explore that early to put a nip in the butt and not allow that gap to get there. What are your thoughts, Al?
In the series, the Knicks are plus 31 in 49 minutes with Alvarado on the court, and a minus 23 in 143 minutes with Alvarado on the bench. So definitely a great point by Don. Also agree with Joe, right? Yesterday, these guys came out on fire, but we could have upped our defensive intensity, right? They can't come out if they cannot come out on fire like that again in San Antonio. We have to be on our P's and Q's for defense. Now, those are great points by our panelists. I'm gonna give a different point. I think for us to not get in a big hole again, we have to not get into foul trouble. These last 2 games, we had starters in foul trouble. We had Cat pick up 2 fouls yesterday, and the game before that, we had Mikel pick up 2 fouls. And actually, the game before that, I think Josh was in foul trouble. He picked up 2 fouls in the first quarter. So I think that'll be key, especially because we are going to be in enemy territory in San Antonio, where we probably are not going to get a favorable whistle. So the guys need to be really careful with how they play defense in that first quarter.
Yeah, I love it. And I agree with you on the fouls. I think, unfortunately, when you look back at the footage, some of those were not fouls. So it makes it hard to prep for a situation where you're kind of being put in a position that you shouldn't have been put in the first place. But now that we know how the whistle has worked all series, we need to prepare for that. Prepare for the whistle to be that way. So when you say, like, prepare for the fouls, I say prepare for the fouls that are going to get called that aren't fouls. Prepare that way. Prepare as if Cat is going to be on the bench. Because we all know Adam Silver wants this to go a lot longer in the series financially, and so do these refs because it's money. So you got to prepare for that. We'll go into one more take, and then I want us to go into the notes on the high rye and what we're doing. I had it in a different order, but I want to move it now that you brought that up. And this was going to be my number 3 point, but now it's going to be my number 2. And it's Karl-Anthony Towns and getting him going earlier, which obviously means he has to stay on the floor. And whether or not we all agree that the whistle is complete bullcrap, he has to play with the mindset that the whistle is going to be bullcrap. Like, he has to take away any opportunity for them to perceive something and that they're going to try and make it look like it's something it's not. So he's got to be ahead of that curve. He was very impactful during the comeback, but we need an aggressive Towns from the opening tip. Like, if you look, it started to be a case where Jalen Brunson and Alvarado could drive in the paint because Cat was threatening the three more. So Victor wasn't posted up anymore in the paint, making all of our drives harder. In that fourth quarter, he was rarely in the paint because Cat was shooting the three and showing, you leave me open, I'm shooting. He has to do that early because it caused all of Jalen Brunson's and all of the smaller guys, even Mikhail's shots, to be altered. How many times did we hear last night from Jefferson and from Mike Breen and the other guy? That shot is normally what they make, but it had to be altered because of Victor Wembanyama's presence in the paint. Well, you take him out the paint, and all of a sudden it's not a factor. And Cat did that in the fourth quarter, but we can't wait to the fourth quarter to have him do that. He has to show that his three is going to be a factor from the start of the game. So bring Victor out. Cat down the line was being willing to shoot the three. He's got to do that earlier, allowing others to get there. But I do want to give Cat praise real quick on this video, and then I'm going to throw it to Al first this time on his thoughts about Cat being, smarter with his plays, offensively and defensively, but also more aggressive to make sure that Wemby's not a presence. But this is one thing that I got to give Cat kudos to. So horrible, quality, but look at this wisdom and veteran, genius for him to do this. All right. He knows it's going to be hard for them already because he's a lot taller. He brings the first row,
and they're so about it.
that they are right up on Harper, who is a rookie, a 20-year-old, having to inbound it in the biggest NBA Finals comeback ever, and he brings the crowd over to him. Look at that. He just says,
he's like, come over, guys, come over.
Genius.
But those dudes look like they were locked in sync with Cat the whole time. Did they talk about this before or something?
I don't know. That was straight up mafioso style.
That was great. And shout out to Don because he mentioned, I don't know if you got that from Don because he mentioned it right away.
No, I didn't. That's amazing.
He was like, did y'all see that video? And I hadn't seen it. So I texted him on the side. I'm like, send it to me. I'm like, yo, that is insane. And he eventually got he got the tip, right?
Yeah, he did.
That looked like it was gonna be it could have been a clean alley-oop dunk. It was a very good drawn up play by San Antonio because everybody and their mama was thinking that there was going to be a screen set for Wemby. Wemby was going to curl around and they were going to throw an alley-oop to Wemby. Instead, it was the other way around. Wemby screened for Castle. He came around, and Castle's a freak athlete. He's 6'6". He'll jump up and dunk it on you. And he got pretty open. Josh Hart stumbled a little bit. If that was a good pass, bro, he might have made that, and that would have been game.
But the tip changed it. The tip
changed everything, dude. Yep. So Cat being locked in. Shout out to those two guys. They need lifetime seats right there at the Garden. Yo, whoever they are, we appreciate you guys.
Ever. All right,
unbelievable.
And shout out to the chat. There's over 245 of you guys still rocking with us right now.
Let's go.
PM. Appreciate you guys rocking with us and Sagamore Spirits tonight. Al, give your take.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what was the question on? Oh, Cat. So Cat, the thing with Cat, I think Cat knows the calling, right? I think he knows what he has to do. I'm not worried about him rising up to the moment or anything like that. Cat needs to focus on a couple of things. Don't get in foul trouble in the first quarter. Don't disappear in the fourth quarter, because up until yesterday, he had 0 points in the fourth quarter. So I think he scored his first points in the fourth quarter of the series yesterday. So that's what I'm going to be looking for from Cat. But look, man, Cat has shown that he is locked all the way in. Even look, that last play that we just showed, he's clearly locked in to all the little details. to get those guys. I've never seen anyone do that. I would have never thought of that. To be that locked into that little of a detail, Cat's ready to win the championship. He's really ready to win the championship. So I'm not too worried about him, other than just don't get in foul trouble because your team needs you, and then show up in the fourth. That's what I need from Cat tomorrow or Saturday.
I love it. I love it. All right, before I throw it to Don, I don't want Clint to have to sit through more Knicks talk. We're going to talk about this high ride bourbon.
More.
We're going to talk.
I'll jump in on it.
Yeah. What do you think from what you saw last night? Like, what do you think is the change there?
I think for one, foul wise, they got the big part early on in the game is the Spurs are coming out running and gunning right out of the bat, and they're young. They're going to do that thing. If you're watching it, like they start tiring out a little bit in the fourth. So it's just don't let them play that game, but don't bite into it too hard. That's where the foul trouble is coming into play. Is they start this run and gun game, they're trying to slow them up. Next, Wemby, the league's going to give him half the whistles anyway. They've already anointed him the next LeBron, next Jordan. That's their next guy. So, you got to just be careful on that. And I think, again, like right there with Cat, he's, fourth quarters look good, but, actually, no, not even, he's kind of been rough on the fourth, but I think they just really need to just play their game. Keep it slow. Like last night, start slowing it down in the fourth. Spurs were coming out gunning. They'd slow it up, and the Spurs almost looked discombobulated. They didn't know what they were doing because at that point they were so used to running gunning. When they got slowed down, they were tired. They stopped. They started like they weren't just playing their game; they had to think, and it actually kind of screwed them up a little bit.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. And that's a great point because with the veteran presence that we have and the experience that we have, we've seen that our team can swing the pendulum and we can play fast and still compete. But they can't get completely out of their element and still compete. Like their whole MO has been run fast and outpace your team because it'll get you open shots. But when the game slows down, so I think the fact that we have that ability to go fast or slow, we have to continue to throw those curveballs at them instead of letting them dictate the first half. We have to dictate the first half. Like we have to make sure that we make them play our game because we can contest theirs. They can't contest ours. So we got to find a way to like contest theirs without getting into foul trouble. I think that's awesome. This high rye, by the way, is delicious.
It's so good. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah.
I know your guys' last one, I believe, was higher proof. Like I think it was like 118. So what was the reasoning? Because I didn't get that one, unfortunately. What was the reasoning? Was it too like were people thinking it was too much bite or?
Honestly, we have a limited amount of barrels. We want to share the love a little bit more. That's what it came down to. When we proof it down a little bit, we can stretch it a little bit farther, so we get a few more cases out of it. And so we knew this was something we're going to have to do, and we played around with it. And 108 just hit right. Like it was just that 108 proof was just like that perfect. Kept the integrity we wanted to of it. You still got all the notes out of it. It just it was the right spot to do it at. And that's really that's literally the only reason is we started producing more this year.
Okay.
So we've got 5 or 6 years, so this is going to be ready to go. So we looked at what we had for inventory because it was always an experiment. This was never something that, we're not planning on this being, next year in the core lineup. It's going to be an LTO every year. Kind of cool to collect these so you can see the differences. But with it was just, we wanted to get a little extra out of it. Everybody wanted it. And, so it was, can we get 1,500 cases out of it and share it with everybody in the U.S. was the plan. And here we are.
That's awesome. So you've had both. So do you think that the tasting note shifted drastically, or is it pretty much the same thing, just at a lower proof?
No, I think, when you change the proofs, you're always going to get a little bit. I think at that 118, it was drinking a little higher. I think the corn, that initial corn hit was way more prevalent in it.
Okay.
But again, also with bourbons, I'm always, and it even goes with rye. I love that 100 to 110. That's kind of like my sweet spot with everything. I'll always drink a cask strength all day. I have no problem with that. I love cask strength stuff. I love high proof stuff. But I think you really get the best bang of bang for your buck on like the notes and everything you're gonna taste at that 108, that 105, somewhere in that range. It just really opens up a little bit more. You've got a little bit more water in the actual whiskey itself, so you're gonna get those different notes. A little bit more of some of those floral hits will pick up. A little bit more of that grain notes will pick up, and I think you just get a bigger, like bolder bouquet at 108 that you didn't get at 118.
I love it. I love it. All right, I'll let you go first on your thoughts on this. I think it's absolutely delicious. I can't wait to pick up an actual bottle of it.
Yeah, this is a must purchase, guys. If you see this out in the wild, you absolutely need to get it. Phil has had me on a high ride kick lately. So when I saw this, I got super excited, so much that I cracked it open before the show. So I already knew.
Yes.
I already knew it was fantastic.
He's already read the whole paragraph.
Good,
he's got stories on it. It's great. So.
He actually drank the whole bottle. He's drinking something else right now to fake it on the show.
No, I just poured the end.
Guys, I get up to the city a lot. I'll bring it up for you. I'll bring some extra up for you.
This thing is fantastic. I'm looking at the notes, man, and I'm curious to hear what Phil has to say, because he loves the orange note. And I'm trying to I feel like I don't know if I'm tasting the orange note. I definitely get that char oak in there. Does this have an age statement? No age statement?
No, I'm sorry. Dice just scored. I've got my hockey game on in the corner too. I gotta apologize, guys. I lived in Vegas for all 6 years. Lived in Vegas when the Golden Knights started, so I actually follow them pretty heavily too. They're probably
good.
lose though. 42. That's a minimum of 6 years. Right now, most of it's 6 year right there. So
6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you get that char oak in there. At least I taste that. You still get, obviously it's a rye, so you get the spice, and it's a bourbon, so you get the caramel. You get this is funny that you guys put on the bottle brilliant cinnamon. Is there any story behind why you put brilliant cinnamon on there?
We picked the most educated cinnamon we could find. We actually went tree to tree. We found smart spots. No, I think it's good adjective use, So.
That's hilarious. I love it.
We didn't want dumb cinnamon on there. We wanted brilliant cinnamon. So
Phil, what did you get as notes on this? Did you taste the orange?
I didn't really get the orange, to be honest. And you know me, like I'm an orange sucker.
Yeah, you love orange, yeah.
So I looked for it, but I didn't really find it. But it didn't disappoint me. Because honestly, I feel like if I did taste orange in this, it wouldn't have blended as well with all the other flavors that I got from it. And so for me, not getting the orange was actually kind of a benefit. I got more of a light caramel. I got maraschino cherries, which I'm huge on. Yeah. I spend the $27 on a thing of maraschino cherries as opposed to the $8 other cherries, because it's that much of a beneficial difference to a cocktail. And so I get that maraschino liqueur, maraschino cherry in there. I get a little bit of clove in there, which I love. And one thing I either love or hate in a rye is the mint. I feel like when there's too much mint, I'm like, this masks everything. I hate this. But when the mint is subtle and just like a refreshing, cooling feeling, then I love it. And that's the mint I get from this one.
It's perfect here.
It's just like an accent to all the other delicious flavors that are in there. So I get the caramel, I get the brown sugar, a little bit of vanilla, definitely the maraschino in there, a little bit of oak, and then the slight hint of mint at the end. I think it's just a well-balanced. It gives you the sweetness that you like, but enough of the So when I say caramel, I don't just mean a thing of caramel macchiato Starbucks caramel, where it's just I had so much sugar that I can't have sugar for the rest of the month. But it's one of those salted caramels that you can get at Trader Joe's, where it's salty and sweet at the same time, that it's enjoyable but not over. So I feel like this is the perfect balance of that.
I was gonna say, I think the proof point on this is perfect. I think this is I never had the 118 one, but I would bet that I would probably like this one better, and I do like high proof things, but this is I'm a big fan of the 110 to 107 proof point around there. Because I think it's just more shareable with more people, and it's more approachable, right, for a lot of other people. And I could see myself like sharing this bottle with like my brother-in-law, with my guy Don Melion, who's not really like a big bourbon guy, but like I think he would enjoy this kind of pour.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, all right, Clint. So, obviously, you guys got the high rye bourbon. Before we let you go, is there anything else that's like in the pipelines that people should be looking out for?
I mean, we will be doing the great thing about going Maryland style now, or being 100% Maryland made now, not just Maryland style, is we are getting ready to do our third edition and probably our largest release on a bottle and bond later this year.
Nice.
So that's been pretty exciting. This year, I want to say we're going to be 8-year bottle and bond. So
nice.
We've had some good bottle and bonds lately on the show, and I've been very surprised because bottle and bonds are usually like 100 proof, and I don't know. I guess I just never really expect much from a bottle and bond, but the ones that we've had lately, they've all been very nice flavor, like decent complexity too to them. So I don't. Is that like something that's going on in the industry? Like people are starting to focus a little bit more on bibs.
Everybody wants to have one just because it is that government controlled, center point. It's right there. Everybody, it's an even playing field. Everybody's doing it the exact same way because they have to. So it's a good way to just showcase what your whiskey's about and kind of compare it side by side, where you have the same proof with everybody. You have that same age statement with everybody. It's all, well, for the most part, as they get older, move around, but you have at least a minimum to it. So you have a quality that's already set.
Yeah.
And so I get excited with them just because it is kind of a fun way to really get in and see nuances from each brand and where they where their strengths are. So
and bottle and bond, since like it became a thing, has been a consistent thing, across the board in the whiskey industry. But I think it's so cool because it really just like shows how unique a flavor profile is for every single brand. Like when you have to go through a certain requirement of like, it has to meet this to be your bottled in bond. Like it sets a level playing field for every single brand. And you kind of just get to see, okay, what does this brand bring to the table? When you have to meet certain requirements, like, is the whiskey good at this requirement? And I love that. I love that, certain brands to me shine in that. And I feel like certain brands don't. And it says a lot, about the whiskey that's in the bottle. So I'm excited for that for sure.
That actually brings me into a question for Clint, if I could ask him a question real quick.
Yeah.
What you mentioned, or what it got me thinking about, was how certain brands have like a very certain like flavor profile, right? Like certain brands are known for a very nutty profile. Other brands are known for a very a big grape taste in their bourbon. Now, Clint, now that you guys are no longer sourcing, right, and only using your distillate, everything, I think you guys are like grain to, like, you guys take care of everything, right? Like you do grain to glass.
We're doing everything in Maryland. Yeah.
So does Sagamore have like a certain note that is going to be prevalent through all of their iterations?
That's a great question, actually.
Yeah.
I would say,
and maybe this is something that like just over time you kind of land there and it's not known now, but like, I don't know, I did get a nice peach flavor. Like, I don't know.
Cool. I would agree. I think the stone fruit's definitely one of those flavor notes you get a lot of. Depending on the one, and it's funny speaking to the bourbon about the orange peel, because I think that comes into play more with the malted rye, which is the smallest percentage in there. But I do think when you get to our core lineup where it's all our actual full ryes, I do think citrus notes, that kind of orange peel, is a pretty popular one. With the double oak, which I don't know if you guys have had a chance to try that one before or not. That one you get a little bit more of like those like creme brulee style sugar notes. But I do think outside of that, the caramel is one that does. And to Phil's point earlier, it's not caramel like that sugary sweet. It's almost like that mouthfeel you get from caramel. I kind of think where it's like the way when you're eating a caramel, you get that salty and sugary kind of notes on your tongue is kind of more what it's in line with. I would say, honestly, like if there was one, stone fruits, a little bit of that citrusy orange peel note. I think you're always going to get a little bit of like the baking spices, of course, on the barrels. We do a level 3 char, so it's going to be a heavier char on it. I think those are kind of some big categorical ones.
Pretty soon, guys, people are gonna blind taste your stuff and be like, that tastes like a Sagamore, like that tastes like a Sagamore spirit right there.
That's where we want it to be already. So
yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
all right, Clint. So I posted the Instagram and the Twitter. Is there anything you want to say to people on how they can support what you guys are doing?
Yeah, just pick it up in stores. Come down. For all of you that are on the East Coast, take the train down to Baltimore. Come down to the distillery for a day. It's open Wednesday through Sundays. Weekends, we have live music down the lawns. We do whiskey on the waterfront with food trucks, third Saturday of every month. Plus, going back to that Bourbon, the one thing that I can say is we have distillery exclusives all the time.
I was about to ask about that.
Yeah. So that is one of those things that you're not going to find at a store. You're only going to find it there. A really exciting one. We're doing an 8-year America 250 bottle July 31st.
Nice.
We decided we're going to drop it for Baltimore's birthday as well. And it's 250 bottles. That's it. Custom label.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty special bottle. That's going to probably be our highest priced one we've ever done. We always wanted to keep it kind of, pricing wise. Baltimore's a blue collar city. We want people to be able to afford our whiskey, So
I'm going down to New York for the parade when the Knicks win this championship, and my sister lives in Delaware, so we might make that trip. I love me some lump crab cake, so Baltimore's always knocking on my door.
And my
mother is
mother-in-law
100 yards from us.
Yep.
What's
my
up?
mother-in-law lives in California, Maryland, so I'm right there as well.
What I was saying is Nick's Fish House, one of the famous. Nick's and Jimmy's are kind of like the two big ones. Nick's is on the same spot as us. You can walk to it in 5 minutes from where we're at. Quarter mile, same area.
Well, Clint, I just put my email in the chat, so if you see that, if you could drop me an email personally, because I'd love to set up some time for me and Al to come out and link up with you. When
Absolutely.
we get out there, we would love to kick it with you and be able to continue to build with you on that front. So appreciate you so much, man.
Absolutely. I'll break out that 118 bourbon so you guys can actually try it.
Love it. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much for your time, Clint.
Thanks for having me, guys. And Knicks in 5.
Let's go.
Last thing I want to say, Wu-Tang, I think, helped us out at the end, too.
Let's go.
Presence of temporary, Wu-Tang's forever. They cleanse the gardens. So
let's go. Right there, baby.
Let's go, Clint. Let's go, man.
Appreciate you, Clint.
Have a good night, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Have a good night, guys.
Hey, that was one of the best outros I ever heard in my life.
For real. I love it. Shout out to Clint. All right, so we're going to move to the next category, and I'm going to throw it to these guys. I'm going to throw it to Joe and throw it to Don. Besides what we were talking about, Kat, the next thing I think that the Knicks need to do is defend the 3-point line better. And I think throwing Jose Alvarado into that, mix really helps with that. But the Spurs made 14 threes in the first half, bro. 14 threes, which is absolutely crazy to see that they made 14 threes in the first half. So, Joe, what do you think we have to do to make sure that that does not happen?
Yeah, like I said before, I just want to make sure we're rotating better. There was a couple times where we were losing our guy, and that's, when we're leaving guys wide open, these guys, it's the finals, man. These guys are going to hit their shots. There's 3 of them on their other team that they're all lethal 3-point shooters, and to leave them wide open in certain sets, it's like, man, we're killing ourselves at certain points. So, at the end of the day, man, this is our series to win, The only way we lose is if we beat ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, when it comes to playing defense on the perimeter, man, just stay with your guy. You gotta rotate. Can't leave him wide open. I saw Mitch leaving Wemby wide open, not playing up on him, and Wemby just drained it right in his face.
Yep.
And then Brown put him right on the bench after that. So,
you can't leave anybody open right now, right? Like, have respect for everyone that's on the floor. They don't really have like a Jeremy Sohan or a Josh Hart. Like, Castle is like one of their worst shooters, but he's been making his shots lately. Like, you have to respect all of their shooters. The problem is that when Wemby's rolling to the basket, you have to tag. You have to help out on Wemby, or he's going to get a clean dunk. And when you do that, you're digging in from the corner, and now you're leaving the corner open. So if you're gonna dig in, just know that your guy might catch the ball and be ready to sprint back to the guy to contest. Like, you have to come out with the right energy. That's what I think is the most important. Like, and I don't understand why you don't come out with the right energy, because guys, it's the finals.
I think it was 3 games in a row we were down 14-7 right off the rip of the game.
It's the finals, like,
you know.
Yeah, like if you can't come out ready in the finals, like, when are you ever gonna come out ready, my guy? Like, I can't want it more than you. I don't know, man.
I just think when we finally come out to a good start and we take, a good 20-point lead eventually, because I see it coming eventually, man. Jalen Brunson's eventually going to take us home, and I hope it's in Game 5, man.
Yeah, and Al had a great point. It's like, with a lot of teams, there's a certain player that you can leave open. When you look at their whole roster, their whole starting lineup, this is a team that's going to be good for a long time.
Yeah,
like 1 through 5 can hit the 3 from the like at a high clip at any point. And even when you say, like, Castle may not hit the greatest 3-point shooter, he's still their second best scorer. So he finds a way to score. At any point in time. And when he gets hot, he gets hot. But you got guys like Champagny, that can straight up shoot the clip at a freaking ridiculous rate. He's done that multiple games against us.
New Yorker.
Yeah, you got Vassell, who can at any point start hitting the 3, and it's an issue. So 1 through 5, you have to make sure you're not giving any leeway. So this whole thing of us jumping out and like catching up, we can't be playing catch up in the first half. What are your thoughts, Don?
Yeah, I mean, is as far as like early starts, it's tenacity, man. It's scheming, it's tenacity. It's like it's on the coach's staff ability to recognize like mismatches and advantages early. I think that this last game, it came later than we all wanted to, but it was at the precise moment that they made those adjustments to defend like the perimeter, like what Joe said earlier, is like providing the personnel to address the issue and to mitigate it in game. I think that was important. I don't think we know what that is. You know what I mean? Like, because last night it was Alvarado, right?
Yeah.
And then another night is, it may be Mikel, it may be, Shamit, and some of those guys, we're not seeing like the offensive like output, but as far as like if it's like stopping like a 3 or something specifically, I think it's just insight and adjustment, and it's a chess match. You know what I mean? Like, having to know the wherewithal to like be able to make those adjustments and to dare to be different. I think that's what happened with the Knicks last night. It was like, hey, a coming of age, like Mike Brown. I dare to be different from my scheme in this moment, and I commend that flexibility, because that flexibility got us to win. So like I said earlier, that flexibility last night played out in the Brunson Alvarado kind of backcourt. You know what I mean? And
huge for us, man.
It was huge. Alvarado had like the wherewithal to like contribute where he needed to. He didn't overstep. He shot open shots. He created off the ball. Like, that spin move was crazy. I think they put some sauce on it. That was dope, right? Like, that was kind of crazy to see. And yeah, I just think like it just takes those tweaks, man. It's a chess match. So
it is.
You got to know when to move pawns and know when to move knights and things like that. And I think that Mike Brown displayed that last night, and that's what we need in Game 5. Like, that's what's gonna secure it. Like, the Spurs are gonna come out on fire and at their home gym, getting eggs thrown at them and bulls thrown down and fans getting beat up. They got a chip on his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, so like.
Yeah.
Will we respond is the actual question, to if
But
we
is
win
that a
that
question?
game.
But
You
is
know
that
what
a
I mean?
question?
Like,
We just
I expect
responded
us
on
to.
25.
I'm sorry, Al. Al, this is my last thing. I got you on mute, and then I'm gonna dip back into the chat. I'm sorry, man. Like, for some reason on my screen, like it's not showing you talking. But
Oh, okay.
I'll say this: like, I think it's those minor tweaks that turn into like bigger outcomes, and I think that we're thinking about this like at a larger scale, and it's like the little tweaks that are really like that's winning. Like, it's the hey cat, those two fans move over things that really win the series. You know what I mean? Like, that's a chess match. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and I'm looking forward to Game 5. I think that we come out with it. Contrary to what Vegas thinks, that the spread, whatever they laid out, I'm gonna toss that out. You know what I mean? Like, but it's the minor tweaks and those adjustments, and the flexibility in adjustments will win us Game 5. The flexibility in adjustments will win us Game 5. That's my final statement. The
Let's
flexibility
go.
in adjustments will win us Game 5.
Let's
So
go.
having an open mind is to like make the adjustments as we see them and trust our personnel to get the job done.
Yeah,
let's go.
I love
I
that.
like that.
What one thing, like, we to Al's point, yes, we made the change, but we made the change, I think, too late, and that's what we don't want to do. I feel like we have to start from quarter one with the mentality of keeping them off the 3-point line and making sure that they play our style of basketball and not theirs. So we'll close on this because it's getting late. I appreciate, seriously, the 270 plus of you that are still rocking with us right now. We appreciate you guys. If you can hit that like button and that subscribe button, hit a retweet, all that fun stuff. Shout out to Sagamore Spirits. Shout out to OTLS, the brand. I think they're dipping out, but I'm going to put one more time their Instagram in the chat so that you guys can, their website in the chat so that you guys can pick up the tape shirt once again. If you weren't here, amazing brand that sent me over this shirt. They have a Knicks Nightcap promo code so that you guys can save 10% off. But the last thing I want to talk about is we have to win the emotional battle. And I think with players like Alvarado, we have to tap into him since he knows how to handle the emotional battle. I don't know that every player that we have does, but we know for sure that he does. So the Spurs are coming home desperate. So we have to expect the best punch that we've seen from them all series long, because they know if they lose this game that they go home. So we're going to see the biggest fight out of the Spurs tomorrow night. So expect their best punch yet. So the Knicks have to match that intensity immediately, straight out of the game. We cannot wait until halftime like last night to see us match that intensity. So what are your guys' thoughts on the Knicks' emotional approach to making sure that we win this game? I'll go with you first, Al.
I'm really not that worried about it because, again, at the end of the game, they've been saying the same thing again. 0-0, next game is the most important game.
Yeah.
The only thing they didn't say, and maybe this scares me a little bit, but I think they understand this. This is going to be the hardest game.
Yeah.
From here on out, every next game is going to be the hardest game they've played all year.
Yeah.
These guys are not going to go lightly. They're probably going to get the whistle, but these are things that we already have battled and overcome, right? We've overcome the whistle. We've overcome all that stuff. I think the Knicks have shown in closeout games that they know how to handle them. And so I'm expecting them to close these guys out, man. That's my expectation. I think that's what they're going to do. I have a podcast with Ra on Sunday after the game. So if we lose Saturday, his PTSD is going to be in full gear. And then also,
yeah,
selfishly, it just dawned on me today that if this lingers to a game 6, game 6 is going to be what, Monday? That means the parade probably, if we close out Monday on game 6, that means the parade wouldn't be until, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in New York, and that's Father's Day weekend. And my mom has a flight coming up to Tampa on Thursday.
Yeah.
So that kind of puts me out of the parade, man. And so that's gonna be really tough for me to stomach because I didn't get to go to any of the playoff games. So selfishly, I really need them to close out Saturday so that the parade could be like, I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometime around then.
Yeah.
And I could fly back to Tampa and do Father's Day with my mom, which is my first Father's Day. So it's just like, man, yeah, that's a whole nother subplot that I got going on, but it's gut-wrenching right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of in that same spot with you too. Like, family first for me, at the end of the day, love the Knicks.
Yeah.
But, if it means, that it ruins that time with me and my boys, it's not going to happen. So if the Knicks win and we can go up, visit my uncle, stay with my uncle, go to the parade, that'll be dope. But if it means Father's Day weekend is about the Knicks, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. So we'll see what happens there. But one thing I want to say, based off of, your guys' take and everything like that, is I think that did Joe give his take on the emotional thing?
No, he hasn't.
Joe go first, and then I'm gonna go. What do you think, Joe, on the whole, making sure that we don't get caught in the emotions, but we just play our kind of game and make them play it, because they're going to be playing like it's, rocky.
The hair on fire.
Yeah. Well, I really like the mentality that, what Kat said, it's like the hardest game to win is the game that's going to end someone's season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying I'm kind of feeling a little bit more optimistic about this game 5. I'm not going to lie. We haven't really seen our team yet, guys. I don't know how you guys feel yet, but maybe the last 2 quarters, the last game, maybe we've seen our real team, but I still feel like we haven't seen the Knicks yet this series. And I'm still waiting for them to come out and show up and show that this Spurs team is nowhere on our level.
Yo, actually, you're right, bro. We actually haven't had every game that we go into, I'm like, we haven't played our best game yet.
Yeah,
right?
I'm waiting for these guys to turn up and show out. Like game 5 in San Antonio, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 20-30 point blowout in a closeout game, because
me either. Yeah, me either.
So,
you're right. Absolutely
listen,
right.
man, if we want this ring, we want to go on parade, man, we got to end this series now. We got to finish this up game 5. I don't want to give this team life, give them game 6 and 7. Nah, man. Yo, OG Anunoby, he's going to bring it home for us. Jalen Brunson, he's going to bring it home for us. Cat is going to bring it home for us, man. I got all the faith in the world in our guys, man. It's other guys that got to step up. I want to see JC have a big game. I want to see Shamit have a big game. I want to see Deuce finally step up, hit some threes for us. We got pieces. We got tools in our bag, man, that we can use. And, when it comes to a closeout game, man, the worst team that you should be afraid of is the New York Knicks. Let's go, baby.
Yo, Joe, are you in New York?
No, you know where I'm from, man.
Where are you from? Up north?
Well, my family's from the Bronx, and then they moved over to Staten Island and then over to Saratoga. But I'm here now in Atlantic City.
Joe from AC. My bad.
Yeah, that's why I was.
But
saying.
are you?
That's why I was laughing.
Are you coming to the parade?
Like I'm saying, as soon as we get that ring, we get that chip, I'm making my way up there. I got to.
All right, you got to meet up with us.
There's going to be a little traffic, it's only 2.5-hour drive, but like I said,
it's going to be ready for a 5-hour drive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if you guys caught Dolan on WFAN, and he was talking about, I had to give Dolan a big salute, man. He said, to the fans that are coming out tonight for this game 4, make sure you guys leave early. And he said it, I'm predicting a Knicks win. So that was a pretty big episode, man, because he never comes out of hiding and talks to the media.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was not happy that he was running his mouth. I would have preferred he didn't talk to the media just yet, but
yeah,
it's all
I
good.
mean, he's been doing it all year, Al. Come on, like he's been.
He did it once.
We're gonna win this. We're champions already, type thing.
The reason we're doing well is because he's gotten out the way and he's just let Leon Rose run the thing. So he can yap all he wants after we win the thing.
Nah, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, but I like that episode. I thought that was some good talk.
I gotta listen to it. I only saw little clips, but maybe I should listen to it.
So I want to say before we close, my X factor. All the players are great and amazing. I think my X factor for the next game and the rest of the series is Mike Brown.
Oh yeah, definitely.
At the end of the day, I feel like his experience is showing when it comes to him versus San Antonio. Also, the fact that he knows the inner workings of De'Aaron Fox, which, you sent me that clip of his frustration with De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento. And people, wanted to give him flack, and he got fired for what he said about De'Aaron Fox, pretty much.
Yeah.
But we're seeing the same kind of plays in the playoffs now with De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
And so Mike Brown's story is kind of hilarious because now he's like, I told you, and so I think that even though there are, different players and so forth that they're relying on, they're still using that veteran experience of De'Aaron Fox down the line. And Mike Brown has coached him. Mike Brown knows his weaknesses. And I think that at the end of the day, that's going to be a benefit and a pro, as well as Sohan's experience of being on that team. So I personally was Knicks in 6 all before this series. But I've switched the pendulum, and I believe it's Knicks in 5. I agree with you guys. The Knicks have not – I'm not going to lie. Besides the fourth quarter, the Knicks have not played a good game of basketball.
They haven't.
Series. They have not played a good 4 quarters of basketball all series. I'll at least give them maybe a half, but they have not played a good first half in any of these games. And we're still up 3-1. So
that's crazy.
If the Knicks can win the first half, which they can because they are the better team,
it's over.
They just need to get it together. It's over in 5.
Yeah, we just gotta play fundamental, man. Fundamental basketball. We win. We gotta stop killing ourselves, man. Stop shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, we've made it hard for us. We've made it hard for ourselves.
Exactly.
I really don't want to lose Game 5 because that's just going to be gut wrenching. But the Knicks winning it in Game 6 on the MSG floor would be, that would bring me to my knees. I would shed so many tears seeing that. I could vision that. That would be
no matter what. So I'd rather not play to a point because we get to a 3-2 series, okay? Then we're putting
it gets scary. It gets scary. Yeah.
We're putting ourselves in the exact situation that we lost to the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I don't want that.
I don't want that.
That's how it could be so. I'm just saying how it could be so poetic.
That's where I start being like Raw, and I have PTSD for every single thing, and me and Rob become the same person. No game 6. Let's rack it up in Game 5. We don't need 2 Raws on the KOT family. All right, 1 is good. We love him, but 2 is too much. So anyway, Joe, let everybody know where they can follow you. I'm getting ready to call it a night. So where can they follow and support you, Joe?
Yeah, man, if you guys want to check me out, I got the shorts and I got the live streams on the Most Optimistic Knicks Fan channel on YouTube. So check me out there, man. The shorts have been doing pretty well, man. So, keep checking me out there, and I'll keep posting them up for you. So
heck yeah. Nice. Appreciate you, Joe. You're a blessing, bro.
Thanks for having me on, guys, man. I appreciate it, Phil. And salute
see you at the parade, bro. Yeah, see you at the parade.
I'll see you guys at the parade.
Yeah.
Let's go.
First drinks on us.
Let's go.
First drinks on me and Al.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, Al. Let everyone know where they can follow you, bro.
Yo, Al from Harlem. You can catch me on Instagram and on Twitter. Instagram's been a little bit more popping lately, to be honest. That's where I'm getting more of my traction. And then you can catch me on the KOT YouTube. I'm on a lot of the different shows here. Like the other day, I was on the post game. I'm always on the Knicks Nightcap. And then I got the Knick Life Crisis. We're going to be live on Knick Life Crisis Sunday, I think around noon. Okay. So that'll be fresh off of the Saturday game. So maybe we'll be champions by then. So make sure you lock in, man. That'll be a dope episode either way. Because if we lose, you'll get to see Ra's PTSD kicking in real time while we're recording. So make sure you lock in with us, man. KOT fam, for sure.
Say goodnight to my boy. I love you. God bless you. I'll keep you. So let's go Knicks. Let's wrap it up in 5. I'm looking forward to all the celebrations. I'm looking forward to chopping up with the KOT family. I guarantee you, if we win on Saturday, you can find me, Al, Apollo, and every other person from the KOT channel on the post game. Like, there's no way that we're all not going to be celebrating together in the post game. This is a family. We're going to rock out together. We're going to celebrate together. It's going to be incredible.
And we need y'all there with us too.
Yes, we need you all there. I am seriously so thankful for you guys because it's 11:16 at night and there's 286 of you right now rocking with us. I appreciate it so much. Let's go Knicks. We are going to win a chip. Like, that's the craziest words that have ever come out of my mouth as a New York content creator. So we are about to win a chip, and I am beyond excited to be able to say those words. Shout out to Sagamore Spirits for the freaking blessing that they were to us today, chopping it up with us, hanging out. The fact that Clint has been watching and supporting the Knicks. Shout out to him. Shout out to my guy David over at OTLS brand. This dope tape shirt right here. Please do me a favor and support good creators within our Knicks community. I posted a link so that you guys can support him. Knicks Nightcap for 10% off. And shout out to Annie as well. That was on the show earlier. If you missed it, she creates amazing art like she did this Mike and Ike box of Josh Hart. So shout out to her and shout out to all of you guys for rocking with us. We appreciate you guys so much. If you drank tonight, please drink responsibly. Do not get behind the wheel. Make sure that you love your loved ones. Take care of yourself. Take care of them. Al, love you, bro. So thankful for you. It's crazy, bro. So thankful for you. And to everybody that supports the channel, we love you. Shout out to the KOT family for allowing us to do what we do on this network. Shout out to Jay Ellis. And to the 290 of you that still rocked with us at 11:18 p.m. We are thankful for you guys. So until next time, God bless, and let's go Knicks.
Let's go.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for